To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right, everybody seen today's agenda? Conflicts of interest? Hearing none, agenda will be approved as written. Reading of minutes.
December 2nd, 2025, the Board of Supervisors met at 9:00 a.m. with Dave Mulbauer, Chair, presiding. Members present were Schultz, Dozart, Mulbauer, Hayden, and Rosberg. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. The board approved the resignation of Heather Lucht, Family Support Specialist, Public Health. Taya Vanani, Director, Recovery Center, discussed with the board about opioid grant partnership with Manning Regional Healthcare Center. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Hyde, to approve the update corrections of the memorandum of agreement. Motions passed unanimously. Motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Dozark, to approve the amended date for public hearing for the EMS Full Service to February 10th, 2026. Motion passed unanimously. The board had a discussion about the certification of cost allocation plan. No action was taken. On a motion duly seconded, the board adjourned at 10:42 a.m. Agenda for the next meeting are posted and available at the courthouse on Friday at 4:30, preceding the next meeting.
Any comments, corrections? So we approved as read. Supervisor reports, Kyle.
Conservation.
That, was that last week in conservation work?
Yes.
That seemed like it was 2 weeks ago.
I know.
It was last week.
It was.
Okay. I guess, yeah, last Wednesday had a conservation board meeting and, Ben Wallace was there again, giving us an update on the potential of a fish habitat possible of draining the lake and starting with the common carp fishing out there. Actually, there's a grant available to help do work with this and through the state, and looked like we're pretty good chance of it. We'd be successful at getting that, but it would probably push it out maybe a couple years before we'd be able to start the project. But I think if we wait, it would be a great deal because it would actually take in the whole watershed of the yellow smoke part into consideration, like working on some of the ponds above water, yellow smoke to recondition some of those and to make it last 40 years again. So he's gonna start working on that project.
You know, I never thought about it. Do you think some of them upstream ones is how the carp got in there?
He kind of mentioned that that's a possibility that they came from upstream.
Yeah.
So, which, yeah, he brought a lot of graphs and stuff for the water quality, and I did question some of those, not that I was in my own mind, these last 3 to 4 years, our water quality has been going down out there, which he did kind of make mention of that a little bit, but drought, less water, and it would decrease, you don't have much fresh water coming in. But they were gonna start the process of looking into it. That's gonna be great.
Grants are
That'd
good.
be great.
So who would write that grant? How that work there?
I think he would write that.
You could.
Yeah, he would be the big spearhead behind it.
Who's that, Chris?
Ben Wallace.
Ben.
Is the DNR's fishery and biologist guy.
Okay.
Okay, so he's qualified.
Yeah, Yeah, it's fun listening to him talk about fish.
Here's a report on the radio.
Yeah, he does a report on the radio
Yep.
weekly.
All right. Grants are always good. If we can get a grant coming our way. so.
Hopefully it works out. They've done Black Hawk Lake, and Blue Lake, and he said they got most of the big state ones done, so. Archer County, and he said Yellowstone is the second largest one in his district. So we thought it should score pretty high.
Put it out.
And the other major stuff I've been working on is, I don't think it'll get rolled out eventually, here, potentially. Project out there, though, that, yes.
You know, Kyle, that would be a big what you're just saying about the grant thing and then the other project out there. I mean, those are the kind of things that start to make, I mean, you like to think Dennison's a destination place already, at least at Christmas time, you know? But, we need to make that destination. I mean, just think about whenever you travel, all the tourism dollars, whether it's hotels or stopping and fueling up at a gas station, buying dinner at a restaurant. I mean, we need to make this a destination. I actually was discussing this with Steve King, you know. We were talking, I think.
Seen he was there Sunday.
What's that?
Seen he was at
Yeah.
Steve's deal
Yeah,
Sunday.
I visited with him a little bit, you know, about destination place. I'm pretty sure it was him that brought it up. I didn't see it.
No, I just seen.
But I think that, I think that's imperative that we start working on all that things. You know, when people aren't supporting it, that just kind of frustrates me because these are things that diversify Crawford County and obviously Denison, but I'm Crawford County, period. So, sorry to interrupt.
That's a good point, because I just heard on the radio yesterday, It's a Wonderful Life is still the #1 Christmas movie of all time.
You know, I actually read, I don't know if I read the same article you did, but that movie literally broke the studio. They created a studio and then this guy was the director. It kind of took him under, and the movie wasn't all it was cracked up to be at first, but then people started watching it. It became one of the greatest movies of all time. So cool, kind of a really neat article.
I didn't see that. Interesting. That's all I had.
Okay, great.
Working on that, we've been asked by Wesco to do a letter of support for their new 5-bedroom. So it's right now, and so it's going to be signed by you. If that's okay with the board. I told them that no doubt we would do that. So I'll email it to, I guess, Megan, and she can print it off and sign it. But this is just what it says. It just says, I thought it'd be convenient to today, since we're here. It just says, to whom it may concern, on behalf of the Crawford County Board of Supervisors, we are writing to respectfully request approval for an exception to policy, which is called the ETP, for a 5-bedroom home and community-based services home located at 617 North 18th Street in Denison, Iowa. This request is being made due to Wesco vacating the existing 5-bedroom home at 509 North 24th Street, where an ETP is currently granted. Because the individuals served at the 24th Street location are moving to this new home in the community, Wesco will no longer require the ETP at the 24th Street address and is therefore requesting the approval to apply that exception to the new setting. With the need to serve folks on waiting lists, this will serve to increase the ability to meet the needs of individuals with disabilities within the community. Please consider granting this exception, and thank you for your consideration. Respectfully, Dave Mulbauer, Crawford County Board of Supervisors Chair.
I don't think you could have said it any better.
Okay, good.
Sounds good.
I got that because Deidre sent me what to say. So she's like, can we do this? I said, sure, we do that. Do you have a form letter? She's like, yeah, I got something I prepared.
Good job.
So, and I did want to say too, we haven't had, I'm on the, District 3 of the Department of Corrections, and because we are now an advisory board instead of a regular board, we just meet 3 times a year. And so we met last Friday. I zoomed in for that. Mark Covey is the guy that is in charge now. And, they, talked a little bit about the realignment, and he said it's going well. Everyone at theirs said that they like the realignment, they like what, they've done from a management standpoint, as far as what they've done with, getting people are better designated in their positions than what they were in the past. There was a little ambiguity that every district would do their own ranking or have their own management style, and now it's consistent across the whole state. And so they like that. The risk assessment on the individuals that they're serving, it makes sense, but now it's done by examination, and it used to be done by charge. And so if you were charged, just for example, with DUI, that was a very low charge, and so you were automatically a number one. And now they found out that, hey, maybe sometimes people that get charged with DUI also have other issues that are going on, and they never really looked at that before. So now it's based on the examination that they have with the individual, instead of just by what they were charged with.
Can I ask a question about that?
You can, I don't know if I'll have an answer, but
Who does that evaluation then, and how is that a court-ordered evaluation, do you feel, if it's a?
I don't know, I don't think it's court ordered. I think that the Department of Corrections has decided this is the way that we're going to assess the people that get charged with crimes.
Okay,
So I don't think it was court ordered, the way it made it sound like it's the Department of Corrections decided this is the better way to evaluate people and to get them because there's levels 1 through 5, and to see if maybe there's some underlying issues that are causing this.
I would say, especially with the second and third, offense of that sort, that it would almost be mandatory, but, because not everybody's gonna have the same reason, so I would think they'd have to go talk to somebody. Is that what you're saying they're gonna do is, or they?
Yes, every individual that is charged is talked to by an
Okay,
okay.
where's this individual that talks to somebody?
In Crawford County, great question. I don't know.
Just, I always want to figure out, because that who is so important to me, that is it somebody here in Crawford County, or are these people who now don't have a license because they got picked up for an OWI, needs to go to Sioux City, so they got to hitch a ride up there, are they coming to Crawford County? I always care about that, because I want the services.
I mean, one thing that Mark mentioned at the end of the meeting was he just said, I'd like to get out and go to every supervisor meeting. I told him, I said, hey, you don't have to, but he said, I don't know if I have the time to get out there. And I said, well, you don't have to come to ours. I said, we have a Zoom link, you can just zoom in. And he said, so does everybody, county board supervisors, have a Zoom link? No, we're one of the few. I thought everybody was doing that now, but it's not the case. So, he did say, yeah, that would be an option, so I would hope you would keep that question in your process and give it to him when he's here. That's a great question. So you want to know how it affects people in Crawford County, and then when you looked at all of there's 11 counties, I think, in District 3, and we are like the third lowest when it came to crimes, number of crimes, just below Ida, or just above Ida and was it Clay County? We're towards the bottom, which we don't have a large, our number in the county is
I guess that,
also.
Okay.
that's good,
That's good.
That's good.
because when you look at the juvenile activity in our county, it
It's
seems like
that.
we rank on a higher side.
Right.
So I mean, a good sign that's not necessarily carried over.
So either they're changing their behavior or they're moving away.
Yeah. Yes, our JV team has not become the varsity school.
Still incarcerated.
You guys, you're in that.
I remember, Craig, we had a lengthy discussion. Remember that when I talked about making Zoom an already objective and have legislation require it? They came full circle and it said, well, one of our core values of county, local government is home rule. And if you.
Yeah, okay.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
But,
Each county should be able to decide.
but if you mandate it, it's another unfunded mandate. Counties have
We
to
gotta buy all this stuff.
have Zoom meeting. So we end up not doing anything because we'll just leave it up to the counties to.
I think that's a fine meeting. I think we do it and it works for us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think if more people tried it, they probably wouldn't be bothered by it.
I
We
think it's
don't,
great.
we don't really, I mean, I don't even think about it most of the time. in here. I mean, unless we're asking questions or somebody out there asks questions. I don't think about it.
And I think it's nice that for the public to have the ability to go back and if they didn't see a meeting, but there was an issue on there, they want to know what
Absolutely.
we said about it, you can go back and look on YouTube and get or I guess on our website, just on our county
Yeah.
website, we have meetings.
I've told
Posted.
people, go back and listen to the meeting if you don't,
Right.
you know, if you heard something and you think that's what you heard, go back and listen to the meeting and hear what was actually said, and it's fabulous, because I think people listen to it more than I can tell you how many hits we get, how many views we get and all that, so.
And I think it has made the press be maybe a little bit lazy because they don't have to be here.
Yeah.
They just go look,
Yeah.
on their convenience.
Yeah.
They can look at the meeting because we used to have press here.
We always do the whole meeting,
Right.
taking notes, and then there'd be an article.
That's a good point.
Couple of days and. Yep. Yeah, I think it's great.
That's all.
I did a few things. I did talk to Scott Johnson, Carroll County Supervisor last week. I talked to him about conservation and how they run things. But he also, I thought was interesting, brought up that they were in the process of hiring a director for the landfill, which does correlate to us because we take all of our,
Okay, Mary's, which year, she retiring?
to retire, they're just trying to reposition so that when she does.
Okay.
Scott said he was in there, not to let the cat out big too much, but just that they were interviewing a couple candidates and it sounded like, I mean, they were on par for down the road in the future for being able to handle what they do. Like,
I think they're setting in a very good position for the future and taking a lot of.
said they bought another 80 acres to expand, so which is good to know for us that we won't have to be coming up with anything
Yeah, place to go.
your turn. Couple other things, I wasn't able to get a hold of Kent Lansing. Kyle talked to me about a Christmas party. He had neck surgery last week.
Oh,
I'm trying to get with him this week. I know our time's kind of, he's good.
He's good.
Our time's kind of December's here. But I'll try to get a hold of him.
January works. 'Cause
I'm very flexible.
Okay. And then, Megan did bring up our cash count, which was scheduled for the 31st. We're gonna have that Tuesday meeting that Wednesday. Does not work. Some of the states being closed down and Sherry can't enter the stuff she needs to with state being closed down. Long story short, the best time that would work would be Friday the 2nd. So we would not have that Tuesday meeting, which we weren't gonna have that Tuesday anyway. We're gonna have 31st. We'll get moved to, we'll have our regular Tuesday meeting, Friday the 2nd. And then we'll do all of our New Year resolutions, county assignments, that cash count that morning
On the second,
on the 2nd.
which is the Friday.
So,
So we're not gonna meet that the Wednesday before?
Do everything on Friday.
so do we have a
We
meeting?
won't meet on Tuesday or Wednesday.
No,
We have this is a 5 Tuesday month, so are we not gonna have a meeting on the 16th then?
well, that's what we'll have to approve. That Friday is our new set of meetings for that year.
Oh, but this, in December
Talking
here,
about December.
this December,
Yeah, fine.
right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
This,
So, yeah, this, oh, yeah, this is
yeah,
December.
that's fine.
Didn't get it torn out neatly, just trying to be quiet, but
Well, if he follows our 5-week month, we won't have on the 16th.
that's what I had done my other calendar, but verifying that.
For the beginning and first meeting of the year would be January
They're
2nd,
meeting the second.
the 2nd, that Friday.
So then,
You have the 2nd, the 9th, 23rd, and then it was 31st, so no 16th.
December 16th, we will not have a meeting.
no meeting, correction, get that published, everybody knows that. And then in January, we'll have,
Next week?
Don't meet next week.
Okay, and no meeting on the 30th. All right,
Okay. And just so everybody's aware,
yeah, I don't wanna come there and work, it's gonna be here.
that work you got, that's all I got.
Did everybody get their food ordered for a meeting tomorrow? Did you get on and let them know what kind of a wrap you wanted?
We're all going to lodge.
All right, everybody's getting the lodge. All
We
right.
gotta be here until night,
Tomorrow, you wanna
That's a second.
or on the second, I'm sorry.
Well, cash council probably be here by 8.
8 a.m.?
8.
Somebody wanna
I
send?
thought we'd have to be here early because the cash.
So we're meeting here tomorrow at 10.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
you guys know how to get there? You been there before? Woodbine? I've been to Woodbine a couple times. I've been to Woodbine, I guess, to the place where meeting is.
Willow.
It's out there.
Willow
You're gonna
Creek?
pop over a hill and drive by, unless you
Go
put
out
that
west,
on the map.
go out west of town, follow the signs.
It's that road that goes to Pisgah. It's a nice little drive.
Okay.
Meet at 10 o'clock.
You get it, turn up by the elevator.
I can fit 7 people in my vehicle, so it's. Yeah,
Great, muchly appreciated.
Thank you.
we'll be there.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe
I'm
it'll
gonna
be to
improve.
drive, but that's okay.
Terry, you going with us?
She's on vacation.
You going with us?
So, well, Hotwood Prius.
Well, you wanna? Oh, 7 comfortably.
Are you driving?
2080 with Monona County or something.
Unless he doesn't drive his car.
That will not.
You,
I don't.
I am a good driver. You guys just make it better. I am. Once I know where. Oops. Anyways,
She's never ridden, so.
no, I have not. I had a concern last week that our Zoom meetings, speaking of our Zoom meetings, weren't being recorded properly, that the first half of them we can't hear, and so I talked to, and it was not very clear. So Ryan sent me a text, he looked into it, and he has updated all of our Zoom equipment, the new computer, and a new, just read it, sent back to us. So we should notice the difference. He felt like we needed I updated the computer and the Zoom software today, hopefully that will help with the meetings. So,
Okay.
all of our problems should be solved. Otherwise, my meeting, as far as having meetings, that was, one of those weeks where I didn't have an official meeting, working with public health and their budget. We're gonna have a meeting, on the 18th to try to get all their numbers put together. And on moving parts, raises is a big part of that number, so try to work on that. Otherwise, that was pretty much it. Had some conversations for this cost analysis, and we'll get to that down the road. But, otherwise, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had this many calls during a meeting. We're just getting going.
Oh,
And I didn't have any of our meetings last week, I mean, as far as any committee assignments here, but I did have my Freight Advisory Council meeting, which has a lot of things that actually pertain to us. And I actually, kind of bridged the line. Our state DOT kind of lobbies for themselves, I think. Maybe they might be an association, but I told them, I said, like we brought up at the, Farm Bureau thing, that I think that if you're getting talking points from more than one place up in Washington that are important to all of us, in particular our transportation infrastructure, rail, air, obviously highway and all that, that might be beneficial. So I told them, I said, I go up for us, and I said, there's other ones. I said, if you wanted to coordinate with us on talking points that are a priority to you, I can always check, make sure they don't conflict with things that we're up to. And the same thing when we're doing something, if it's transportation oriented, we could have our engineers like Wade, Jamie, and some of them get up with them, so that we're kind of, consolidate messaging from Iowa up to Washington, and maybe that'll help us, because we do get a lot of work to do. I think I think they're doing a good job with the monies they have, but we went over, pull this stuff up. I was taking pictures the whole time of their slides, because they had some really interesting slides. They were, going over their budget status. They do the 5-year plan thing like what we, what we do at our level, they do it at the state level. And that comes out of that, it's their funding, it's their, and they got a name for it. I'll click to it here before too long, but they've got funds that come, shutdowns be darned, they still can operate. So as far as it goes, they're doing really well. I mean, there's been a sharp, but it's been a downturn in costs. So what they're getting, they're actually having a surplus build up, so to speak. Overall, 11 over their overall balance on 2025, they came in 11.5 million under program, which obviously is more money to be spent next year. And you can't all see this chart, but you can see how this is basically inflationary cost for the highway system. And you can see how it has its little dips, and we've had a pretty dramatic dip here recently in inflationary costs. Whether it's buying steel or concrete or whatever they're buying, the costs have went down. And so what they programmed for in the coming up in 26, some of their lettings are already done, and they came in under expectation. So I'm kind of, where I'm leading to here is hopefully that happens for us, because we get that big project next year. And so if that comes in under projections on letting, that obviously is very beneficial because it's a big project.
That's on the state level.
This is at the state level, yeah. Which all the letting happens through the state level. So
They're 11, just trying to grasp my head, they're 11 million to the good, which is like one bridge.
yeah, I mean, it's,
I mean, in
if you talk about their size of bridge, but it's still under budget. So I mean, that's a plus. I mean, if it gives us a million left over at the end of the year, or 500,000 left over, and it's always money that'll go to the next project.
Does that take into account any way they restructured how they divvy their money out? Has that taken place yet? Paul was talking about that, how they got rid of that group that got together, all
Yeah.
volunteers to
Yeah.
distribute the funds. They said they were just gonna take it over, so.
I don't know that that's. They didn't bring.
I hope you're right, because sometimes that 11 million is just because they just kept more of the money too.
Well, possible. He didn't bring that up. Now you made me I wish I'd asked that question. I never thought. I'm not there as a supervisor. I'm there as and so I don't necessarily always think about that, but we do have somebody there that's representing supervisors or secondary roads. He's from the other side of the state, and usually he has good questions. Can't think of his name off the top of my head. I always run into him in our eyesight.
Because those are the first two things that I thought when he said we got $11 million
To the good.
surplus, which
That's not a lot for what their projects are.
I mean, it's better than 100,000.
Well, it's better than 11 million to the bad.
Right.
So, and they'd be trying to figure out ways to get some more of our money, right?
Yeah, 11 million to them though might be we gotta do better. We need to sharpen our pencil.
Yeah, actually, Stu Anderson's
Spend all the money, so the legislature will give them. Spend it.
and I don't, Stu usually gives us a really good
I wonder what
report.
our total budget is, so 11 million, that might be 1% of the total budget.
Yeah, well, I think you're probably, I'd be impressed
Or
with
even
1%.
partial percent.
Exactly. I
Anyways,
don't think it says
just
it.
put in perspective.
Lettings through November are 40.3 million below programmed amounts. How's that? There's a little better.
Well, that's better.
Yeah. Yeah, state funding, federal funding, blah, blah, blah. The CR really has very little to do with transportation because they got their own, just like the farm bill is supposed, the farm bill's got its own CR. It just wasn't getting updated. And it expired during this crap last time. So I think, but theirs was obviously continued to March, so they just continued. They're working on the stretch there south of Ames. That'll all be at least 3 lanes eventually. That is actually, he didn't say the worst, but it was in the top 5 for accidents, that stretch in the whole state.
Oh, I believe that.
Think about it, every time you hear about a winter storm pileup, that's where it is.
Oh, it's right there at 35.
Yeah.
From Ames to Oskaloosa.
Yeah.
On a dry, sunny day.
Yeah.
I think about that time.
Well, they're obviously gonna make it a bigger interstate. They're widening it. They've already been doing a lot of the bridge work. Have you been down there lately? They're doing a lot of work
We're at tonight.
from Ames down to Des Moines or to Ankeny.
Yes, yeah.
So they're doing a lot of work on
See that.
that.
Yeah.
But it'll all eventually be 3, and in places it's 4. As you get closer to Des Moines or Ankeny, it opens up to 4 lanes. I suspect. I was trying to evaluate that. I had that Des Moines meeting after this one. So as I was driving, I'm trying to evaluate how wide the new overpasses are. Is that wide enough to fit a 4th lane in there? Or they got that projected? Or if they didn't, I would like to go back up there and kick them in the butt because they shouldn't.
Right.
You know, because eventually Ames will be bigger. Eventually Des Moines and Ankeny will be bigger. You know, so I mean.
Well, Ames might be downside about Matt Camp.
Yeah. Well, that new coach is pretty good. He's really good up South Dakota State. You
I
know,
think they did all right.
but we'll see. Well,
The DOT budget for last fiscal year was 453.
453. So that 40's 10% savings-ish, 10%.
They did pass for 25 through 29. It says the state of Iowa has approved $4.5 billion in state and federal highway funds for highway, bridge, aviation, transit, rail, and trails.
Yep.
So evidently they're starting this year. They're having a big push towards some improvements, which is probably why you see all that work that's.
I don't bring it up a lot in these meetings because it's just something that I don't have any traction with, but I actually do. I'm always poking at the airport stuff. Because I think air is gonna be a big growth thing in the future. I mean, I think, you know, like if you get a rural Amazon, rural, thing here, you know, they're gonna have overnight air, they're gonna wanna be dropping in, you know, for overnight deliveries and stuff like that. And I think the ones that have an airport that's, you know, I mean, they're essential air service, the EAS, are primarily Waterloo, Burlington, Sioux City, Fort Dodge, and Mason City. And if we're working to have a better airport here, it kind of could push us into that to where
You
we
should wonder how you qualify for that status.
well,
What size of runway you have to have,
and exactly exactly how you call it.
and what direction.
Yeah. So that's just something that I think that's going to be imperative to draw in industry. People are flying in and out all the time now. And when I was at one of my NACO meetings, when I was still on the transportation committee, and maybe I've just brought this up to you guys, but they're very close to having drone automated. I don't know if there'll be a pilot in there or not. That's why when they say drone, but taxi services. So if your airport can handle that, just say you're flying out of Omaha in the morning, get over here, throw your luggage in the taxi, air taxi, which would be a drone. Now, how many years down the road is this? It's probably closer than you think if you're on track. So, you know, you got an easier place to find parking. I mean, we obviously have to upgrade our airport for that kind of thing. But it would also create revenue for the airport because, you know, overnight parking, over many days, things like that, helps to sustain your airport and all those kind of things. But I think these are things that I'm thinking are important for the future. I mean, if you guys disagree, please let me know. But I mean, I don't put a lot of effort into it yet, but this is things whenever I get a chance and somebody's talking about it, I get right in. So I think it's important for us in the future. I mean, there's a lot more people even have their, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's people got their own private airplanes. And I think you gotta look at the big picture. If you want to be viable in 2030, 2050, we're gonna have that kind of thing. And we're not working for last week's board. We're working for, we're planning for next year and years forward.
Jetsons.
The Jetsons, well, as crazy as it sounds, it's pretty close to what it is.
It's really surprising we haven't hit that 200 miles already. Seeing some cartoons with our kids.
Well, I think we do. I mean, we talk on the phones now, like her screen, and I'm pretty sure there's probably some ladies that got big, big hair they put on for it, just like Jane Jetson did, you know? But, anyway,
Yeah.
they're working on their 27 to 31 highway program as we speak. So I'm gonna assume that Ben's already working on our next year for the 5-year. They stay a year ahead, just like Paul always did here. So, I mean, they do things a lot similar. You know, it's just a lot different. You look what they got, and just listening to Stu, he never comes out and says anything like it, but I think they get a lot of pressures to keep these Cedar Rapids. I mean, Cedar Rapids is really, I mean, that is probably the growingest community in Iowa. At least for industry and all that stuff. I mean, I'm jealous, ain't gonna lie to you. But, I mean, I don't really want to see Cedar Rapids in Crawford County. Maybe some of you do, but I really don't want something that big in town. But I would like to, you know, be able to be more diversified, have reasons for all of our kids to come back here. I mean, what's Lauren's degree?
Graphic design and advertising.
Yeah, so having more industry in towns obviously gives her a reason. I'm sure she'll figure out a reason anyway. She's a good kid, likes to be around. Maybe she likes you too. But, but you know, you want to get them all back, you know, and a lot of the meetings I've been going to, like when I was out here at the Lion, that was like a big discussion. We were talking about development and things. All the states are thinking the same thing. We all want our own kids back, you know, for obvious reasons. I mean, makes it a lot less for you to drive to see grandkids, while you're driving all over the big Midwest to see grandkids.
My Lauren did say she likes the room and board.
Did she say that? Sure it is. Yeah, I've had that issue with some that came back afterwards. They don't have any new revenues because basically they're working off the same bills that they had. Nothing new out there. I mean, unless there would be some kind of a deal like an interstate. I don't mind when they spend more on infrastructure. I don't know that that's really a big inflation generator, you know, because you're getting value out of it. You're putting people to work. It isn't just money you're throwing out there for nothing. And we get something out of it. We get better road systems. We get better rail systems. We get better sea lanes and river lanes. I mean, the rivers, that we talk about that a lot, the use of the rivers. And I actually brought it up this week. I said, well, I sure wish they were thinking about it back in the old West days. It'd be nice to have a canal that came from down in Crawford County down to the Missouri River. They thought that would have been a great thing. Because, you know, you got the inland waterways is what made America strong. Missouri and the Ohio and Mississippi and them big rivers. I mean, I don't know, did you get to read The Accidental Superpower? That's that Peter Zian who wrote that. It's about geopolitics. It's about what makes you strong, you know. And how Britain before 1900, they were the strongest because they controlled the seas. And then shortly thereafter, World War I, we became the controllers of the seas. Actually, more along in the lines of World War II, we really became a naval power because we were fighting one of the most powerful navies to ever, you know, Japan had a very powerful navy, so we had to beef up to beat them. Yeah, we did. But those are the kind of things that you don't think about. But, you know, and what is the place up in New Hampshire that they had after World War II? You're my historian. You know, they all got together and the United States didn't ask for anything. They just asked for us to have the ability to protect everybody's sea lanes, to have free, you know, they wanted fair trade, which kind of didn't happen necessarily, but we just came out and actually wanted to make the world a little smaller by everybody being able to work together, commerce-wise, and because you become interdependent upon it. So, you know, it's like China, why they probably haven't attacked us or us them yet is because we're dependent upon them. Same thing with Europe and all that. I mean, who knows what Putin's thinking?
Well, infrastructure is key to being successful. China just built how many billions and billions of dollars in Argentina and Brazil's infrastructure.
Yep.
To chisel at our success.
Well, and them are the things that, that's how you build allies, so to speak.
Yes.
Whether I always agree with how they spend or how much they spend is a different thing. That's why we have 435 people in this representative, right? Let's see, and that's pretty much the same stuff. Legislative session, they were talking about their DOT legislative requests. I don't have anything listed here to great detail, but operations budget, they have a proposal is, and I think that this is mostly basically where they're talking to the state house. This is federal. But they kind of listed out their priorities for reduction primarily due to lower equipment. They were talking about why their budgets went down, lower equipment replacement costs, and lower capital requests for maintenance, garage replacement. They just got done building their addition there at the main office in Ames. So, that helped lower their budget. They just went over some things and priorities that and that's, so I talked with Stu, and I actually brought it up in the meeting. I said, if you guys would like to do something, and you think that we could work coordination, I said, obviously you gotta talk to whoever you gotta talk to, and I got to as well, but I think a unified effort is always gonna be a better thing for us. And then if you're building a bridge, might help us get some of our bridges built. If they, hey, the western side of the state had some great ideas, and they got some players that work with us. We do need to take Highway 30 a little more serious or something when we can. But anyway, that are just some of the things that I was thinking about, so I suppose I was working for us when I was there too.
Did you hear Boone County landed a huge dairy with Daisy?
Yeah, I did. And one of our big challenges, something like that, they take up a lot of space, obviously, but boy, we just don't have enough flat ground. We haven't developed any industrial. We have got to get off the stick and maybe figure out a way to do an industrial park. We don't have any shovel ready. And actually, this afternoon, I've got an economic development meeting over at CDC, and we're going to get up with all the players, so to speak, in natural gas. And hopefully they all show up. But natural gas, all of our infrastructures. See, okay, what do we have? Where's everything at? We'd like to get an overlay for the CDC that obviously be confidential. But something that's an overlay that shows where all these assets are and where would be the best place to build a spec building and what types of spec buildings, and reach out. Paul and Stephanie have been reaching out to people that have had successful ones. What did they do? What was their building? How to build? Obviously, you're building a show. What are people generally looking for? So we build the right thing too, if we go that route. But you got to have an industrial park. Everywhere that you see growth around our bigger towns, whether it's Fort Dodge or Sioux City, there's an industrial park or something. Because if you don't have a substation there, 5 to 7 years, depending on the size of the substation you get put in. Well, they're moving, business move. That's not moving at the speed of business. I'm sorry. So we're missing out on things because of those things. So anyway, that was my 2 meetings.
And have it.
One's today.
Thank
We're gonna go to.
Saving my-
So I guess we'll have
It was eating up clock that they got.
We did a good job.
That's why I think they made sure I had.
But we got the bridge replacement.
No, I still haven't changed that from last week. I apologize about that. I'm on a bridge replacement project in each and every way. I'll have to make note of changing. But yes, the HMA widening project been set for January 21st letting. No change there, just edge end of there. Day laborers, the great crew is of course shut down for the season. Fixing up equipment,
bridge crew, they're shut down as well with construction projects that they're fabricating their components for next year's bridges. And of course, a lot of the guys have been out doing snow removal, pushing snow, so that kind of eats into all that too. But roadside crew, they are shut down for the season. And,
Are you sure?
pardon?
You never really know for sure about Chop Chop. He might be out there doing it.
Off the record.
Yeah. Pretty sure he's not hanging out. Like I said, you never know. He might pop his head in every now and then, kind of check the pipes, make sure things are safe for him out there. So, make sure the mice ain't getting in the seat, but yeah, you just never know. Last week had a very good conference out there in Des Moines.
Well, if you go,
You did good, yes. And, no, it's a good time to, a lot of good presenters, and it's a great time to, visit with a lot of the other county engineers and just kind of do a little bit of networking, a lot of vendors, so very good conference. I enjoyed, one of the, of course, all the chatters, of course, budget, and that everybody's gonna be working on, or is working on, so, and that would be, kind of what I'll be diving into here for this month here as well, so, I'm sure I'll kind of reaching out to you and kind of discuss.
So, Ben, did they say like how many county engineer positions are throughout the state?
No, they didn't.
Okay, I'm just curious if it's the same. I'm sure the counties are having the same lack of applications like.
I think a lot of them have got their positions filled.
Okay.
I think got a lot of young engineers out there. That comment had been made. They got a lot of newer engineers may not look agree to the position, and
Right.
so there is a general sense of that generation prior, a lot of experience retiring, and there was discussion on how you pass that torch, that knowledge, to the next generation of engineers, and so that is a topic. Trying not to lose all that experience because there is a lot of engineers at that retirement age leaving, and a lot of young guys coming in and don't want to lose that.
That's a great point, because it kind of makes you wonder then if they did, kind of like we did, where we have Paul on retainer, if you need him for that first year, 18 months, or we know, given Paul's personality, you could call him in 5 years from now, and he'd come help out with this. But, just to have that ability, like you say, to pass on that knowledge when you have young, new people coming up that maybe haven't been, at least you were served as the assistant county engineer for, a number of years.
And that's where you gotta give Paul a lot of credit there. He foresaw himself, he made that step years in advance, to get somebody in here, Bob, I hopes that I would be, I'll be the person that taking that over and started giving me that knowledge. But it's like I said, he leaned back all the time, if you're ever in my seat, you're gonna wanna know this. So, and kind of putting those, planting them seeds, so, gotta give him a lot of credit there. He got the foresight of knowing when he goes on, he doesn't want all this, everything, all the good work that he's been doing undone, so. Hopefully.
but on my notes, I'd say with the changes we made and you stepping into this role, you got your feet wet and it's going very well.
I think it's going well. I hope you all think so as well, but like I said, I threw a budget cycle. What's that?
I'm still about it.
Well, continue to evaluate. And don't ever.
I think the successor plan, putting Tim in there and additional things for Kathy, I think that probably creates a lot less stress on your learning curve. Where basically to have 3 people that are overly competent. At least I hope so. So I actually think that the succession plan here might be something you share with other counties. This is what we did.
Well, I think just know the uniqueness of our county and the different nicknames we have for all the different corners and roads, and it'd be hard to come in and not know anything about Crawford County and what this bridge and everything that you have that you learned over truly beneficial and an advantage to the taxpayer of Crawford County.
There's a lot of nuances that,
Yeah.
you know, unless you're from the area. or from-
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be difficult to pick up on, right? Yeah.
And it's got a lot of
Tim knows.
nicknames, yeah, you've got a lot of nicknames for, places that aren't on the map, and people just know that that's Russ's Corner. You know, somebody owns a road, we didn't realize it, the names on it, not legally, technically, just know that that's their road, so. They're from all of those, so I think that that's a great benefit to all of them. I think we did a good job.
To that point, like you're saying, you know, your cat, you know, like, more roles within the office there, and Jim, as being a great asset, you know, as a good operations basement there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great points. I was another topic of discussion there, you know, like, some of these, you know, positions, you know, that, are a little more difficult to replace, your office managers and whatnot, how to pass on that knowledge as well, not
Right.
just the engineer, but, you know, like, there are a lot of things Kathy does that I am going familiar with, and obviously, kind of the conversation someday, you know, should Kathy decide to retire or whatnot, making sure that that knowledge is retained as well.
We can guarantee that someday she will retire. Everybody does. Yeah.
And, but yeah, I think it's good for every department to have, you know.
Some plan.
You know, have some knowledge of her role, you know, and be able to do
Yeah.
so much, and make sure that when somebody else comes in,
Smooth transition.
be able to transition, is right, so. And there's a lot of positions like that, technicians, inspector, and just a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily do from day to day. But that's what I would say, to get a new technician, you know, want to make sure that knowledge gets passed on to.
Did we update, the job description, you know, when Kathy moved into that role of all of the different, the job description's been updated?
Big folk did kind of change a little bit.
I assume we
Change a
did.
little bit more, so to, yeah, a little more responsibilities.
Job descriptions are important, I think.
Yep.
Very good.
So, just want to have a little bit of discussion on, I know we're gonna be working on 2027 budget there. I know equipment is one of the, you know, a lot of things are gonna be the same, you know, as far as budget wise, approximately gonna, you know, budget about the same amount for gravel, you know, the wages, finding members and whatnot. It really doesn't move the needle that much. There's gonna be a lot of things that don't move the needle, but then we got the big things that do. One of those things being equipment, and kind of maybe that's a little bit of a conversation. I know this year, or for fiscal year 27, looking at possibility of purchasing a D5 dozer, that we're still looking for one. And another excavator that, getting rid of an old one that we have that, we've kind of gotten our motor graders and trucks, very well up to date. It kind of gives us an off year where we're not looking at, putting new motor graders and trucks out there, gives us a year to kind of get caught up on a little more of our construction equipment. Like I said, just kind of playing off of, the equipment schedule that Paul had kind of worked on prior. But, I know those are two items that we're looking at, and possibly, upgrading, the foreman, pickups, and handing down their pickups to ditching crews and the dirt crew, and getting foreman new pickups. I see their pickups as being one of those, essential, gotta keep them updated, similar to trucks and motor graders. They're out there, but if a snowstorm, running fuel to a guy, their trucks have got to be in good shape. They're out there all the time, you know, running. Like I said, getting fuel to the guys, make sure, you know, when they got starting at 3 a.m. in the morning when they're going out to check roads for ice and stuff. It's, always want to kind of make sure that their pickups are powerful. They should be. So
3
that's
to 5 pickups.
we've got 3 pickups.
What years are they?
I believe they are
Within that 2020 or 2021.
they have that 2020.
They're getting up there in the 200,000 mile range.
A lot of repairs then after interesting.
Like I said, they put a lot of miles on it. Like I said, they go down to, going ditching crew, on one side, ditching crew. And then, really after that, they don't really get, up to the all, like I said, then they're the private net, going similar, so. That's one item that we're looking at, like I said, that's a conversation as far as equipment purchases, of course, so. Make sure that's, on the same page, agree to what our plan is for equipment. So, of course, dozer, we'd be looking at getting rid of one of the D6 dozers, for trade in a D5. Probably looking at that $210,000 range for a D5. Yeah, a little more versatile machine that would be good for both the grading crew as well as the bridge crew to use.
Gonna replace that John Deere.
Oh, I believe that was the replacement of Minotaur.
Little Baylor thing.
Yeah, the Minotaur got to replace it.
Okay.
So, like I said, there's also, kind of looking at equipment here, either just put it out there, got what our thoughts are for 2026 fiscal year. Another item I want to talk about, limestone. We did use a lot of limestone this summer, and that's something for next year, kind of budget a little more on the limestone and things to get that built back up. It's not so much that we used that much more because of the roads, needing it so bad that we had a lot of projects that took out that budget item. Woodland Boulevard, Yellowstone Park Road, when we did that, we provided limestone. We upgraded Ann Avenue up.
Didn't they reimburse us for that rock though?
That's the point, they did reimburse us, but that does come out of that budget item, the reimbursement doesn't go back into it, so. Right. So, like I said, just making sure that I'm able to replace a lot of the limestone that came out of the 10th Street yard. We're still sitting pretty good. I think we got good piles there to get us through the spring season, but we're probably gonna want to, get a little more back in that yard.
I do think that helped greatly in the spring when you touch up those soft spots and help mix that in. That really helps out.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of these projects that we did, they're reimbursable. I think, as a matter of fact, I think we are all caught up in reimbursements, even on that Lincoln Way project where the utility applied in that we did receive some reimbursement back from that.
It'd be nice to know what that total number got reimbursed
For that one,
for the rock, for what, everything that you used this year that you got reimbursed for. Like if there was $50,000 that you got back, then we'd have an idea of beyond, what did we give last year, 200 for white rock? So if we went 250, we could take it out of what got reimbursed. You to replace it, you see what I'm getting at? I mean, I don't know what we want to use for a number, obviously, we've got budget constraints to deal with, so, you can have your wish list. How much you're gonna.
I understand, that's why I kind of bring this up now, having some discussions.
But it'd be nice to know what we have in general that came back to the general fund from your office. That to me is in addition to what we.
I mean, it was already paid for by taxpayers for rock, so it should get put back towards it.
That's kind of, there you go. That's
So
the
it
thing.
should be kind of here.
I can do that, I can get you that.
Okay, that'd be great. When we're doing
Yeah,
the
like I
budget,
said, state project, that'd be, ton for ton, they're reimbursing 100%. Same with the N Avenue, where we upgrade those roads, the land has opted to pay for that limestone. Came out of that expenditure, but that's reimbursement too, so ton for ton. It's unexpected, the utility out on Lincoln Way, we did negotiate that down a little bit to what, we initially had put out them what we wanted, and we did negotiate a little bit there. They paid about 75% of what the initial bigger cost was. And that's a little bit attributing to, it was the situation out there, we did plow off, you know, they did plow it, we had slop out there, we plowed it to the side. Let it dry, I created that situation, you know, it didn't bode well, you know, over the weekend, it rained again, we kind of created dikes on both sides of it. Some of the dikes on usage, next week, we did, kind of, you know, the result from what we did, so. We negotiated that down, paying 75%, which is pretty well covers all the lights. I put out there and did our guys out there full day on Friday, that Friday, all on rock out there all day. I'm happy with kind of where we landed with that, to some degree. I was uncertain whether or not they were gonna come to the table with anything, so to get 75%. I think we're a great deal, so. And the fact that they want to plow more in up the north part of the county was pretty good leverage.
At the end of the day, that was their project that creates the, started the whole mess anyways.
Yeah, like I said, we may have exacerbated the situation, leaving the, a windrow to, gravel on the edge of the road over the weekend, getting it ready. But, so we did take a little bit of responsibility on that. Like I said, that's the majority of that cost. They accepted.
Well, we understand the importance of white rock for filling your soft spots and all that stuff. That's why we put more into it these couple of years, and I'd like to see them reserves sustained instead of depleted, because we aren't done fixing. I don't know that we ever will be.
But when you look at all our feed haulers, license, grain haulers, and you touch up those spots in the spring, it makes no real difference.
Sure it does.
And then, like I said, gonna be looking at our local projects too. I know there's some discussion to do a stabilization seal coat on the Boulevard there. Really, be a great area to do it. It sees a lot of traffic. That would all come out of local budget if it's something that we're gonna do. So see how that kind of sits in the budget as well. Like I said, I've got to dive into this a little bit to kind of see what we're thinking. So the other thing, next I have, it was brought up, the combining of the charter oak and Ricketts maintenance shops. We're gonna be, we're gonna be building a shop up at Charter Oak, and or I thought about it more. I think combining those shops is a very feasible idea. I don't think it would hinder the level of service that anybody in that area gets. Again, I don't know what public sentiment would be in regards to that, but close to the shopping and buying. But again, just looking at it from a maintenance standpoint, I think we can provide same level of maintenance out of the charter shop, finding that adding on probably 2 bays onto what we're initially planning on.
We have
3 bay
one
shop.
person that reports to the Ricketts,
Pardon?
Ricketts shop, one person,
2.
two,
Anyway, two.
two in the winter.
The 2 millimeters.
Blade is truck.
Truck it. There's two blades.
Just two blades.
That makes sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I know, looking at the route map, like I said, right now, as it sits, they'd be driving about 3 miles, one of the operators in that territory. We could reach all motor grader lines, right to where they both, where L51 splits it, and they're both, going off of one side to where, so they're not dead end lines, those are options.
Future, so, I mean, it's not so much today, what we're looking at the future. I mean,
What do those people that work up there, what do they think when you mention that?
I never really discussed it with them
Okay.
that much. Like I said, I don't know, as far as putting out notice to, want to, get some feedback on it. I don't want to.
That's what would be interesting to get, like, certainly feedback from the public or from the employees, what they think. I mean,
That's a little bit why I'm bringing it up here,
Right.
like.
Exactly. That's why I said, bring it up, get it out to the public eye. Let the press be aware of it so they can maybe do something with it and see what kind of report or what kind of feedback you get back.
I guess, as I'm saying, the more I thought about it, after it was kind of brought up as a possibility, the more I like the idea. Like I said, we can see what that goes. But that's gonna play into how I budget for, what we're putting up for a shop. That's all, it's something gonna have to be looked at pretty heavily here. Few weeks, so, not that needs to be decided on.
Right.
Just want to make sure that, able to budget for an additional 2 bays on shutters. I think it'd be a good move in that area.
In the long run, it saves a big amount of money. Cricket shop right now is probably the least efficient that we have in the county. It's probably the oldest one that we still have in the county. It just isn't feasible for us to build a brand new 2-bay shop in Ricketts for that area that we can actually provide from the Charter Grove area by building that new shop. With everything we need there, it's still gonna have the same amount of service, more economical. I think it's way better.
Just the cost of building the new building would be a little bit more than what we originally thought, because we'd add 2 bays to it than what Paul had originally thought. Was it gonna be what, 4 or
3 bays.
3?
Yes, we'd be looking at 5 bays, right?
But no, that just makes perfect sense.
Yes.
It does.
Perfect sense.
Yeah, man, like I said,
I was just thinking tonight.
and it's taken 2 of the oldest sheds, Charter Grove shed, right? And it's really bad.
Checking a couple
That's why we're looking at replacing it in the brick shed. I'd say by second to that as far as, just the heating costs alone, just a little part of the year. It's what we do, if we did keep it there, eventually that shop will have to be replaced, we'll have that cost involved, and it's gonna have to go there, So,
We're still landlocked with
Yeah,
what we have
landlocked,
there.
yeah.
It's right.
And then
you have nowhere to go until that shed is built.
somebody's gonna buy it and use it, Tim or whoever, and puts it on the tax rolls for Ricketts then, so I think it's kind of a win for Ricketts in that regard. And it helps in a little bitty town like that.
I think there'd be interest in it.
Yeah.
Same.
There might even be other interests other than just like a farmer. I mean, there's
Well,
different people that are interested in the charter.
It's a
You know, maybe-
well-kept old building.
Yeah.
But like I said, putting the seeds of thought on.
Yep. Well, it'll be interesting to see what feedback we get.
And, of course, the defensive motivator position, we are hired for that. We're gonna give it a week here to see what we get for applicants and,
Yes, sir.
certainly got a few mentions that they may be interested, so.
Any of the ones that applied for the Dow City? I thought you said you had some pretty good candidates there. Would one of them be?
I think one of them is Crawford.
Again, it's probably one of the more, demanding routes that we have, being right around Denison here, so want to make sure we get, something adequate.
Self-starter.
Yeah, something we know it's gonna be able to handle the route, so. But like I said, we'll give it a week, see what we get for applicants and, see about getting some meeting that seat and, I think we got good weather ahead, it's being covered right now, but we'll hopefully before the next snow, we have everybody kind of where they need to be, so.
So you know, Ben, we are not meeting next week. Us, the board of supervisors.
I didn't.
So you know,
Doesn't make sense.
so you get a week off too. Not today. Just
Have more to talk about.
Good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, we'll see you next Thursday. So you want to? That's on here.
Hey, we're up to Trevor.
I didn't see them.
Come on down, Trevor. All good? You all started in your role?
Oh yeah, it's been a couple months. So
Trevor, my name's Craig. I don't
Trevor,
know-
nice to meet you.
Seen no Dave.
Yeah, Dave. I live on the same road as Dave. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
pulled each other out of the ditch.
Great for you. So yeah, just a little background. I grew up in Crawford County. So like I said, I grew up in ended up in Sheldon, Iowa for about 6 years after graduation. Was a park and rec director up there. Was actually planning to move back home and didn't even know the YMCA was happening. It just happened that I was moving home in August and they were hiring and I was moving home and it kind of worked out perfect for me. So been in the park and rec field since I graduated college. I'm passionate about recreation and getting people active and family activities. So it's kind of a perfect dream job I see for myself, being a retirement job, me staying in this community. So I'm excited to be here and I just kind of wanted to get in front of you guys to talk about the YMCA, what's going on currently, and then our corporate membership package. So have any of you been to the Y? I know, Gene, you have. Has anybody else been through the facility?
Yeah, it was a tour.
Did you?
2 months ago?
Lots changed since
Right.
then.
Yeah,
So,
every time I go.
but yeah, so as far as the facility, the Y, the facility, both the pool and the new wellness center are city-owned buildings, and the YMCA is operating those facilities for the city. So our sponsor Y is the Atlantic Y. So Dan Haynes, the executive director there, is my boss. So they assist us with things, but budgets are completely separate. So they don't cover any of our downfalls. We don't cover any of theirs. But as far as the facility goes, the memberships for the YMCA includes both the indoor pool and the new wellness center. So as far as our kind of family memberships, that's what we want to push the most. Get families active. Our membership price for that's $56 per month, which is actually the third cheapest YMCA in the state of Iowa, but we're the newest. So a big thing for us in the Crawford County area, I know like free and reduced lunch rates are high. So we want to make our memberships as affordable as possible for the community. Separate on that note too, we'll have scholarship opportunities available for those families that it's based on income. So we're going to mirror kind of off what the Atlantic Y does, which is up to 50% depending on, kind of where their income falls. But yeah, so I mean, the facility, we got basketball, pickleball, volleyball. The field house is obviously a big thing. So Monogram stepped in with a donation for that field house aspect. So a big thing for me is that field house is, while we're a nonprofit, we want to just break even is our main goal. And keeping that field house busy with tournaments and bringing in tourism dollars, that's where we're going to be able to keep our membership prices down by bringing income through that field house. But my biggest thing with that field house is, while we want it to be busy, I also want it to be available to our members. So, we can split the field in half. If we can have a program on half of the field and have the other half available to members, I want to make sure that our facility is still accessible to the members. But today I just kind of wanted to talk about our corporate membership offerings. So we partner with different businesses. The Y provides discounts based on the amount of employees businesses have. So on that second page there, it has that. So we have a 5% discount, a 10% discount, a 20% discount, and that's based on the number of employees that a business has. So you can see the 10 to 49 is the 5% discount the Y provides. The 50 to 200 is 10%, and then 200 plus is 20% discount. And on each of those tiers too, there's additional benefits. For example, the free building rental twice per year, the free lunch and learn. So there's additional benefits to that. So as far as the discount, that's what the Y provides. Then it's really up to the business in terms of how they want to split the rest of that percentage of that membership aside from what the Y provides. So for example, in Atlantic, there's a lot of different ways you could do it. So if you want to pay a flat rate for each employee, say $20 a month or $10 a month, you guys could choose that flat rate so every employee gets the same benefit, or you could do a percentage. So it's really up to the business. I know a rarity we actually have a business that has already signed up with us to pay 100% of their employees' membership, which no one in Atlantic does that, so that's a rarity. But if that's something you want to do, that's certainly an option too. But I guess what specific questions do you have for me as far as what the facility has to offer, what the benefits of the corporate membership, or just questions in general?
Right, first off, Trevor, have you had a chance to reach out to like Paul Plum, CDC, on the corporate members?
So I've talked to them. So I've currently, so we have meet as a board every other Monday. So the Crawford County Y board includes 3 people from Denison, and then 3 people from the Y board in Atlantic. Since they're kind of our sponsor Y, they're assisting us through this process. So I've actually started sitting down with businesses for that. So we've been given tours too. So I'd love to give you guys a tour whenever works for you as well. But yeah, we've met with several businesses so far, and that's kind of where we pulled from, is the chamber website. So
So the corporate memberships, I guess, when you take the number of employees you have, you just take that times the adult rate, or how do you come up with a rate for the?
yeah, so for example,
Corporate
the rates on the right there are full membership prices. So you would get a discount, say if you have on each membership. So if you have a person with an adult membership, you get 10% off that. Same for family, same for couple. Kind of a different thing is there's some businesses that will pay, a percentage of just a single membership. And then if they want to upgrade to, say, a family, then that's back on the employee, not the employer. Does that answer your question?
I guess I was just curious, so when the employer has to keep track, I guess, how old their employees are?
No,
Just
so they would, what they would do is, so we have a standard membership form. Essentially, if you guys were looking to join, they would need to fill out that membership form. We would compile that, we would track that. The only thing we would need to know is, like, say for instance, if you guys wanted to just cover a single membership for them, and then they have to, deal with the upgrades to the family membership, we would just need to know that. But as far as that, yeah, we would take the forms in and do it that way. So we pay, the 10% discount off of the total, number that you have from those memberships for the price.
So I guess just to clarify, if the county did something like that, we would take the single parent, the $49 a month rate, or would it be the adult 26 to 61, 44? Is it the active older adult, that rate of 37?
Yes.
Or does it depend based on their age?
So it depends based on their
It does.
age. Yeah.
Okay.
So adult
So
is
these are the exact rates.
correct. Yeah, and then the discount
Whether
comes
you
off that.
apply as a corporate membership or an individual.
Yes.
Just go up and apply.
Yeah,
It's the exact same rate.
correct. And then the discount comes off depending on how many employees.
Gotcha.
So what would it cost? Like, so we would be, like, we're 100 employees roughly.
Okay.
Goal, what would it cost the county to do something like that? Just for, let's say they want to cover single portion of it.
Yeah, so single then, so if you said 100 employees roughly. So 100 employees, let's say if you just, let's say for instance, everyone's single adult, just to make things easier here. So 100 employees would be 4,400, so take 10% off of that. That would be the discount, yeah.
Or less than $4,000.
But you, as an employer, get to choose a percentage. So we give that discount, and then you can decide how to split up the rest of that portion. So if you want the employer to pay, say, 60% of it, and you guys pay 40%, you're just paying that, 90% that's off the discount. So you could choose to split up that however you would like. So you're not, as an employer, you're not responsible for that full amount unless you choose to. So like example, I said we have one company right now that is doing 100% of all their employers, but it's a bigger company, yeah. And that is very rare. Atlantic doesn't have one. Most of Atlantic's corporate sponsors either do a set dollar amount each month that they pay, so every employee gets the same thing, or essentially the same thing but a percentage. So there's really a lot of freedom, in terms of if this is something the county is interested on how you split up that remaining.
What do those typically those corporate sponsors, what is that set amount
For
for what they pay in and then they usually have their portion?
like what the standard is, I would have to talk to Dan Haynes in Atlantic to get you an exact number on that.
Curious if the majority pay
Yeah.
50% or
I-
20%.
I think the majority is the flat rate fee, but example in Atlantic, they have essentially a different contract with each business because they choose to do it differently. I can certainly ask and get those numbers for you, what
So
kind
your-
of the
Your
average.
discussion with Dan, did the city of Atlantic or Cass County, they do anything?
I believe they're with,
HCA?
I believe they do have an account with Cass County. So I could certainly reach out to Dan and see what Cass County does for theirs. If that's, yeah, if that's a number you'd like, I could certainly reach out to Dan and see what Cass County does. And just kind of give you a rough, estimate. I mean, as far as us, we've started having these meetings, but we only have one that has signed on, and I think 3 meetings next week. So we're really starting to hammer out those meetings to get these discussions done prior to the facility being ready to open. So would you like me to get those Cass County numbers for you? Perfect.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
So that first year, we're gonna assume that all of our employees want that benefit.
Yep.
And there could be an employee that says, I'm never going there. I live out of town and so do we have any leeway on making sure that a
Yeah.
customer or
Yeah,
employee even wants that benefit?
Yeah, so some businesses, so you'll see on there we have monthly usage reports as a part of that as well. So there's some businesses in Atlantic that you could set a limit. They have to use it X amount of times per quarter, and if they don't, you could. I mean, it's up to the employer if they want to. If the employee's not using it, why are we paying for
Right.
their membership? So monthly tracking, we can do that monthly, quarterly, really. Whatever the the preference is for the business, but that's certainly an option that we can provide usage reports. One, then also if we see people aren't using, how can us as the Y get them in the door to utilize it? What can we offer as far as programming to attract them as well? So it's also beneficial for us to see those usage reports and cater to the community. So.
What kind of stipulations might be there if somebody's, per se, just had rotator cuff surgery?
Mhm.
Obviously, they're not gonna be showing up there for a while,
Thanks, Doc.
at least.
Yeah, so there is a 3-month pause plan that you can put on your membership. Say, for example, if you have a surgery or something and you're gonna be out. But there are other things, too. The pool could be something they utilize, being that it's a joint membership. But yeah, there is a 3-month pause option for memberships as well. And that's just a simple form you'd have to fill out to do that, and then it would restart after that 3-month period. So.
So then you basically bill us monthly or quarterly.
Yep, monthly or quarterly. It can certainly be done to what is beneficial for you guys, whether it's quarterly or monthly. We can make whichever work. We want to make sure we can be as flexible for businesses to be at the help of you, and we'll make things work on our end for that. So. But yeah, as far as kind of our timeline, so construction is obviously one thing prior to opening, and then also staffing for us as well. So it'll be myself, branch director, we'll have a program director, a membership director, and aquatics coordinator, and then also a janitorial lead. So those are our main positions that we'll have. 2 of those, the program director and membership director, are full-time, and then the other 2 are 30 to up to 40 hours per week. So as far as offerings, we'll have adult youth programming. Being new to the community, we didn't want to, as the Y, come in and take over things that people are already doing. So for example, I've met with the swim team committee, the youth soccer committee, and the Little League baseball softball committee. They're still going to operate as committees. We're going to help them facilitate registration, assist them with scheduling, facilities, whatever they need. And then, down the road as, volunteers maybe move out of positions and there isn't a group that wants to run it anymore, the Y is willing to take over, those programs as well. But our main goal is to help the existing programs keep functioning as they are. We'll take over the city programs, and then we'll also fill in the holes where there's offerings, rooms for improvement, I guess, or rooms for different offerings, whether it's adult leagues. We mentioned like art classes, things like that aren't athletic based. We want to kind of provide different things.
So Trevor, are you employed by the YMCA?
Yes, yep.
And these other people that you listed, they'll also be employed by the YMCA?
Yes, correct. So
And then the city of Denison
Yeah.
pays the YMCA?
no, so we have our own budget. So we have a 5-year MOU management agreement. So every 5 years, we will get together, see if it's working, what we need to readjust. So it's a management agreement. So we're managing the facility for the city, both the indoor pool and the wellness center.
Gotcha.
They are helping on some of the bigger maintenance side of things. So like us as the Y will do the janitorial duties, the minor maintenance repairs. But if there's something, say, for example, an HVAC system goes out or something, that's where we'd work with the city. And they'd assist us with that for the bigger project items. So that's kind of how we'll operate. So, but yeah, if you guys, I'll get those numbers
Yeah,
for you.
question.
Yes.
Healthcare costs, that's right on the front page, is that realized or unrealized? That's something we could, they put a pencil paper and offset some of our initial cost of being a member, or is that just something you throw out there that said, well, possibly you won't have many people going to it?
Yeah, I think the latter. Yeah.
So we won't get a reduction.
Potentially, yeah, we won't get a reduction in our
Green costs.
It'd be a question to Homes Murphy, if they offer anything like that.
If we have something like that, maybe
It's in your
Right.
questionnaire, do you offer a wellness plan for your employees?
I just thought
It's
maybe
been
you
approved.
knew that in the other.
And I can certainly check with Dan on that as well.
There's people that have seen their premium reduced by being offered,
Yeah,
which then it would be like. Signs up.
Exactly, right.
Yeah, for wash.
Yeah, I'll check with Dan to see on that as well for insurance premiums and what businesses have to say.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, otherwise, no. If you guys have questions, I do have a business card, and then if you guys have a time that works for you, where you guys want
I
to
think
get through
after
and
the first of the year.
see the facility, and
Yeah, it's hard to make a decision, you know.
Yeah.
Budgets are gonna be,
State of Iowa's gonna allow us to have their money, so.
Thanks, Trevor.
Yeah, appreciate it.
and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if you ever want to just tour the facility, shoot. That's my cell phone number on there, so you can shoot me a text or give me a call, and if I'm available, I'd love to take you through the facility and show you what it all has to offer. So, thank you.
Very nice meeting you.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Glad you stepped in. If you contact me, we can.
no, he contacted me.
Perfect.
conversation.
Things the way. Okay, Brian, you're up.
I'll request the one that recess if you don't mind, so I can set up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Peter was now restarting.
There's a. Get down.
I do need an outlet since
I do have some questions.
I get to come home.
You and Dave speak.
If you,
Insurance.
Well, Jeremy, you know, and. Hopefully.
oh, perfect.
Does it work?
There we go. Use it very much.
I can't see you want to spend 20, 30,
Thank you.
40,000.
How much time are you gonna give me?
Well,
How much you need?
keep it under an hour.
Oh,
Keep our insurance.
don't give me an hour. I'll
Okay,
take
we'll
it.
give you 20, 15.
we're auctioneering this stuff.
20, 15, 10, now 5.
My guys in meetings, that's good.
We're going back, call it a Dutch auction.
That's
Let's see here. Share my screen. I don't know if somebody has to give me permission.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
So, you got it. You have to do it on that day.
Look at that.
I'm on.
You're on.
Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
sometimes there's permissions to use.
You might have come.
You gotta figure out how to do that. I'd like to go do some presentation.
Gee, like you have a text real fast here.
Have Ryan come up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, when he gets our new,
Ryan.
I've talked about getting some new laptop. I need something a little smarter than that last sucker, man. I'm not gonna, yeah, that thing.
We now maybe think it's our.
I do not type very well. That's not here.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
It's my last public meeting of the year.
Oh,
What a good feeling, huh?
I suppose for you, yeah.
Yeah, I get what, a 10-day break.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
How does that?
You just stop answering emails.
Okay.
Then you get about 300 on January 3rd. Yeah.
Good.
Well, thank you everyone. Sorry I had to put off this meeting a couple times, just scheduling conflicts. Wish not all county boards were sometimes on the same date. That's just how it works. You probably don't know me, so I guess I'll start with that. My name's Ryan Smith. I'm with Schneider Geospatial. And what's that?
Well, you said you know where it's good at.
Well, I've stolen their candy. I'm with Schneider Geospatial. I've been with the company now for about 15 years, give or take. And the main product that most Iowans know us for is a website called Beacon. I see faces here, like, I go to ISAC and all that. So you're one of the probably 15 counties that does not have this with the website that I'm going to show you today. Most of the counties, except for maybe like Calhoun, in your area, don't, or everyone else has it except for maybe Calhoun. Monona signed this probably about 2 weeks ago. So. But anyway, so really what we offer is we have the Beacon website, which I like to jokingly call like an online courthouse. We also provide GIS services, so think parcel splits and combines. And then we also have an online permitting software as well. Today I more just want to really the goal of this meeting, finish up the contract.
They split the parents.
Yeah, we offer this as a service. So I'm actually a GIS guy, a GIS person by trade. Started out, my dad's a farmer, and I used to look at soil maps all as a kid. And long story short, I called my parents and I switched to geography as a major. And my parents were like, "What are you doing?" My dad's like, "What the heck do you do with a geography degree?" I'm like, "Don't worry, it's mapping. I'll figure it out. Don't worry." So anyway, I was in GIS and kind of got yelled at for talking too much in my job. So this is a natural transition to promote GIS. And I found out I get to go golfing more too. So
Ryan, is it something we should have our assessor up here to listen in on?
the funny thing is Paul actually is a former client of mine at Boone, and he knows I'm here.
Okay.
So I think he wanted to stay away for the first meeting and let me.
Okay.
He's fully aware of it. I asked him to come up, but I think he wanted me to just talk to you guys about it first and show it to you. So I said okay. So here we are. But so what I'll do is I'll just show you what Beacon is. But like I said, we work with about 85 or 86 different counties right now in Iowa. So, our CEO is from Marshalltown, for whatever it's worth. All right, I'm going to show you Bremer County. I know that's not close to you, but they have all the bells and whistles. So I want to show you that one as an example. Okay, so if you Google search Beacon, you can find this. You can poke around yourself, look at surrounding counties, Harrison County, whatever it might be. There's a lot of, so I'm logged in as an admin. So the name search is showing up. Sometimes some sites don't have the name search on there, just because every county board has a different definition of privacy. Some don't want to have the name searchable that easy. But I do want to stress though, everything I'm showing you today is public data that they can walk into the courthouse and ask for this data. So I'm just going to type the word, just type Smith, sure I have at least one cousin. So these are all the landowners with the last name Smith. See, look, all this land. And anyway, so this shows all the landowners with the last name Smith. It has all the photos that are associated with it. You can see that there. So I'm going to pick one in town first to kind of show example.
If it's a corporation,
Mm-hmm.
it's still gonna come in and show them. So it's a corporation, even though you just typed in a last name.
Yes, it really just depends on what's in the record. So on the auditor side of things, do you have Tyler Solutions? So on Tyler, we're pulling that owner information from whatever the Tyler record is. Sometimes it's a long string of owners. Sometimes it's just Casey's.
Like I did, just that.
Yeah.
Saber, LLC, and then.
Yeah.
brought up the name Smith.
That's actually a good point to bring up too. It really just kind of depends on how it's filed legally, and that's just how we display
That
it.
makes it legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was unusual that you're looking for an individual and it brings up a corporation that they're possibly a part of.
And that's just the way they have it displayed. Yeah, a trust is a big one too. You know,
Yeah.
if they don't want their name to be technically searched, it
Right.
might be legally under a trust.
Yeah,
But what's neat about that too is, let's say it's Smith Farms. If that pulls up as the owner, notice how that's highlighted, that's hyperlinked there. I can actually click on that name if it's hyperlinked, and it shows me all the property that they own in Crawford County. So if think farms, you might get 10, 15 different parcels, all over the.
yeah.
Might be.
You always see all
That
these
could be
initials.
all the same parent property, and it's in
Yes.
broken.
Yep.
They've just never
So-
combined.
Yeah, so like my wife's grandfather passed away, it's probably been 5 or 6 years now. She's from Powashik County, Grinnell, and he just put a third to the 3 kids for the land, which is always fun. But we were actually able to use Beacon to kind of visualize, okay, who's got the farm on, who's the homestead? You own this, well then why don't you take this because it's,
Didn't really go that easy.
what's that?
Didn't really go that.
No, of course not.
It's good to say.
I at least help them visualize, right? So we started looking up CSR maps and that kind of thing. So anyway, so here is just your standard parcel report. All of this is in one spot here. I've got the recording data here. I'm zipping through this quick just for the sake of time. And then if there's any permits or anything else associated with the property. So we're taking all of that, putting into one spot. There's the valuation, there's assessment notices, the PDFs. On the taxation side, you have all your values. And I can even have a link here to go pay my property taxes. So really, it's just, what's nice is it's a one-stop shop. Because like as a citizen, I know my name, I know my address, but when I walk in to the courthouse, I have no clue. There's a reason why there's probably a sign up on your assessor's door that says pay taxes this way. Or, just, not really understanding where I need to go to maybe sign up for a permit. I'm a new landowner. Who am I supposed to go to for what? And what's nice is all this is in one spot. And a lot of this you can now do online. So here's a little teaser for you. I'm gonna go right into the supervisor stuff. This actually came out of Iowa. Remember about 4 or 5 years ago when values are going up and everyone was having hysteria and freaking out, assuming that their taxes were going to double. Out of Iowa is actually where they started coming up with this. They started to help visualize for the homeowner what those taxes are and what the breakdown is of where those taxes are going. And in some counties, what they started to do is actually display year-over-year taxes with year-over-year value in changes. Just to more show, hey, yes, your value went up $100,000, but your taxes went up $50. Just as an example, because because a lot of landowners maybe don't know, homeowners don't know that it's that trailing year and everything else. So it was a good way to just create a little more transparency and truly understand where your tax dollars are going. In Georgia, they loved it when they showed it to them in a webinar, and they asked for per day. I'm not exaggerating. They wanted per day because one specific citizen kept asking for it, and it was kind of like, all right, do you want it per day? Here it is. So 8 cents a day goes to the ag extension for this property. 14 cents a day goes to the assessor. So it's just a nice way to really kind of break that down and show where those tax dollars are truly going.
Absolutely.
That's actually pretty slick.
Yeah, supervisors, whenever I've shown this to them, I even had this up on display at ISAC. And a lot of supervisors are like, this is perfect. certain times of the year. Not only that, we do have a property tax estimator. It's really just a simple calculator. We disclaim it, of course, say these are not your taxes. This is just if you're putting improvements on the land or something like that, you just want to get a better idea. Or if you're military and you just want to see what that price difference is, notice how it changed about $100.
Make sure 65 in there.
Oh yeah, here we go. See that? That jump shoot went up. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. So so there's just a lot you can do with that there, but it's nice. It's more about giving the tools to the citizen and educating the citizen so that when they get their valuation notice or tax bill or whatever it is, they can do research on their own time before they go into the office, which helps out. So other items.
So can an individual person subscribe and be, instead of having the county do it, can I as an individual in Crawford County, even though the board of supervisors hasn't signed up, can I sign up myself individually?
No, I
Oh.
wish,
Okay.
because it's a good question, but it's a longer conversation. In that Iowa is very open records traditionally. A lot of this is free to the citizens. In some counties, in other states, we're starting to see this, people are asking in Iowa a little bit because of budget constraints coming up, is that you can get your own property for free, but if you want to start doing some research, like looking at comps on a property, that they're putting that behind a subscription, because maybe that's more viewed as maybe more of a business tool that they can pass on to their clients, that expense. But like I said, it's a great point. It's a bigger
So I'm
conversation.
just saying, because I use Iowa Land Records website
Yeah,
pretty frequently.
and we link to that too
Yeah.
as well. Yep.
And it doesn't cost me a fee. I have to register as a type of user. They
Right.
change that. But they've got a lot of information there that certainly other states don't have it that easy for access for the individual.
And I wouldn't say we don't partner with Iowa Land Records, but we work with them a lot to where if you're logged into your account on Iowa Land Records and go into Beacon and click the Iowa Land Records link, it'll take you right to that property with that information there. But here's an example of just a comp search. If I'm getting ready to sell my house and I want to get some comps, I want to see all sales in the last 6 months, similar to this property, just hit search. And then there you go. There's the comps right there. I can look at them on the map and you can see where they're kind of scattered up there. So if I zoom up there, you can see where they're kind of up here. You can see them right there.
Appraisers use this a lot.
Absolutely. Yep. Or let's say I'm working on a project here and I just select one parcel and I need to notify everyone within, 200 feet of that parcel, think zoning. Hit buffer. There's my results right here, a nice tabular list that I have right there. I can click download. I just made address labels for within 200 feet of that parcel. I always joke, this is our simplest tool, but it's by far the most used, sought after.
I'd say that's pretty slick.
Yep.
What's that red writing saying? I can't read it.
I don't know. Something with international addresses. I'm sure it's something our lawyers may have put in there.
Yeah, that's
If
what
I
I'm
did guess.
saying, 'cause when it's red, it's usually something
Suppose
that,
it's somebody lives up in Canada and owns property here or vice versa, and that's mailing addresses. They don't have it.
okay.
So another thing, let's see here. I want to jump to how a sheep. I want to show you a little bit of the ag.
Costa Rica, Jim's always threatened.
So what's nice is once you learn how to use one of the beacon sites, you can pretty much know how to use all of them. They all have a little bit different flavor, but the format is the same, and that's by design, so that you can jump around to the different sites. So like maybe if I just need a sales list, I can just click October. Here's my sales list. So it's more trying to get rid of some of those repetitive questions that you get from your citizens, that they can just go in and just do it on their time to get that. I'm gonna go, so here's all the sales in that last month. You can see them kind of scattered all over. Let's pick on.
properties with each other, like if you're gonna put your house up for sale?
Absolutely, yeah, like that's where you do that comp search, where you do your own. Actually, I'll show you that here in a second. I want to jump over to ag though really quick. So like, here's your land use that we maintain for them. Soils on here somewhere. Here we go. So this is stuff I like showing my dad, because he'd have to used to drive up to the county courthouse and do the research on this. What property was for sale, and I showed this to him, and he's just like, "This would save me 3 or 4 hours of time." So now I can click, like on this property here. I go to my soil report, and now it breaks down the non-crop and the crop and the different soils. We know the farmers here.
But
it breaks down all the soil types and everything, so you can print this out. So we'll get auctioneers that will actually include this as part of their package when they go to sell property, because it clearly breaks down that value. And it breaks it down, to the 100th of an acre.
I can't think of the number of times that I've heard of something went real high. And
Oh yeah,
I'd like to have known what the crop acres and.
we
Just
can.
tell you.
I should have pulled up that Sioux County one. That just sold for like 32 the other day.
Yeah, 30.
Wasn't that a development though?
I got the story on it.
Farmers and a developer.
That was a dairy farm that went out for silage. So it was near this dairy farm or something. That's what I was told.
Then who got it then?
I heard something similar to that, but the developer, Orange City or something. wanted it.
Oh, really?
The farmer was not gonna let him have it, cause he needed it.
That's what it was. It was something about where he was just like, because
I need it.
my dairy are right here.
Brothers, yeah. I think there's two.
Especially
brothers
family members.
Against this. Right, exactly. Yeah, brothers, you're not getting.
That sounds very Sioux County.
That sounds exactly.
Sprawl and go to another county, we ain't doing it here.
Right.
We don't want
Sioux
your-
County.
Urban sprawl in Sioux County. So to kind of go back to what, so like, let's say I wanted to do, you're getting ready to sell your property. I can actually just, so I can just look up, let's say, I don't know, let's just do 1985 to 1980. And let's do total living area, 1,500 to 2,000. Keeping it really simple here. Total bedrooms, 3. And let's do 3 or 2. Central air, of course. And then we'll do sale date in the last 12 months. And you can do neighborhoods, subdivisions, and all that. Oh, great comp there, right? Now you're screwed.
Nothing simple.
Oh, it's a power sheet. Maybe I made it too thin. There we go. So I did 2 in the last 2 years. And so there's my 4 comps right there. So then now I can actually then break that down and start to look at, see I have the years there. I've got the assessed value. Actually, this is kind of interesting. They're kind of a little bit all over the place there. But then that's where you can do a little more research, right? You can do sale price, sale date, and you start to look at those comparables, next to your assessed value and everything. So you kind of start to really get a good comparison there. But I would say close to more than 40% of the activity of the site is done outside the hours of 8 to 5. So think about activity on Saturdays and Sundays. I always jokingly say during Thanksgiving and Christmas, we see a spike. It's because everyone's sitting around in the living room who thinks they know more about a property than they do.
Yeah.
And the kid with the phone is the actual one with the information. So yeah. So I like doing that sometimes, but yeah. So I showed the parcel report. I showed the soils report. We can do some sales, data there too. I'll just kind of close with a few odds and ends that I was supervisors are usually entertained by. So this is Delaware County, Iowa, and I always like showing this one because they have just an enormous amount of mapping layers. Everything from engineering layers, their road signs are on there, which, just all this information in one spot. But what they also have too is they have a group, they have a barn put club. They needed a place to put them online, and they said, well, why don't we use our public website, Beacon, And so they gave us the locations of all these barn quilts.
Interestingly enough, that is a tourism.
Yes, I'm learning about this too. And so I can make that the active layer. And they're like, well, we have photos too. Can you add those? Sure. Oh, that one doesn't have a photo. Let's do it. There goes my demo. Let's try that again. Pick it up. All I was more just trying to show is they have photos attached to it too.
Okay.
So I mean, nothing fancy, but I mean, like you have that, and then if I click on the map, it's going to actually zoom me all the way in. It shows me the exact location where that map is, or that. And then of course, you know, they're like, well, we want more, which we always thought was kind of funny. And they're like, okay, well, now what do you want? Well, we actually have these driving maps. So like, you know, each Sunday you can do a different tour. So we just put that on there too as well. So I'd more just like to show this kind of get you thinking outside the box. GIS and mapping for the county is no longer just parcels, sections, townships, and it's a lot of other different information there. If you give us that information, yes. Up in Minnesota, they've got snowmobile trails and like pipelines, and obviously some of that is behind a password, you know, that's only for internal use. But then they can quickly identify maybe what homeowners might be affected. Do you know?
Cemeteries, like county cemeteries.
Yes.
That would be important.
This is I'm a big genealogy guy, so in Kosciuszko County, this is the best one to show. 1965. They had some interns, and they worked with these groups to pay for it. They built an entire database. This is 1965, all the people that died. Just clicking on a random one here.
Right where she's at.
They took a photo, go to the map, and they mapped them all out so you know the exact locations, and you can find family plots and all these other things. So,
Yeah, that's pretty dang impressive.
so it's pretty neat to see what. So this is, you know, this is why I love geography and GIS on it. It's location with information.
I mean, it's like that information there can be found on Find a Grave site.
Yes, and actually
Vegas
Find a
also
Grave.
is-
I know for a fact Find a Grave took all the information that Kosciuszko did and just like imported it in, vice versa. So, and we do a lot of work, you know, with like DNR, DOT, if there's any kind of connections that you want to put, you know, onto, you know, like bridges, culverts.
Traffic circles. Wide.
So that is just, like I said, that's just kind of a taste of what you can do. This one's in India, and I always just like showing because I like all that genealogy stuff. It's kind of, where am I at on time?
Is this,
Do you have any questions? I'll just open up to questions.
will this would replace their Sidwell and all this stuff, or is this?
To be very transparent, we are a direct competitor to Sidwell.
Okay.
So you do basically everything for us that they do.
Yeah, and I have, and we've switched over 3 Sidwell clients this year in Iowa and 4 others in North Dakota.
How does that take place? I mean, is all this information for Crawford County?
That's somewhere you have to work with Paul.
It's-
That's under Paul's.
It's your, number one, it's your data.
Right.
So the other conversions we've done in the state of Iowa, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks.
Right.
It really just kind of depends. Yeah.
You may have heard of this, but does this system work really good with Tyler?
Oh, yeah. We work with Tyler probably more than any other tax in the country. We're in about 1,000 counties across the United States now. We started in Iowa, out of Ames, Iowa, and CEO, who was a project manager from Marshalltown, and he's still man in charge.
So this would be like, for like working with the assessor, Mary, you guys.
Yeah.
Any local banker, you know, that kind of thing, they use it all the time. I like to, here, I guess I'll end with this. Yes, sir.
Kind of part of this, right, for us. Because if everybody had access to this, I'm guessing you're gonna throw cost at us here eventually. Maybe,
No, I don't need to.
nothing, you know.
Free is a nice word.
Yeah, right.
I did print
There's
some.
gotta be something out there that says, hey, do we have to get a charge of subscription to everybody that gets, I mean, you said at 8 to 5,
Here's
is not the time it gets used.
Yeah, it's actually, we see it probably the most, I would say most of the activity is around 9 o'clock at night, 8 to 9,
I can see where
and then on
a
the
lot of people
weekends.
can benefit from your real estate, your bank, everybody.
Yep.
Do you have any counties that charge subscriptions for you?
Yes, I'll show you an example of what that looks like.
I'll turn the instructions.
And like I said, hey, I'll just show you an example. Just the way things are going in Iowa, this is,
Yeah.
so I'm going to, so I'm logged in right now, I wanna show you, so this is what they would create a login. And then they just create a day pass, they can buy a day pass, a week pass, a month pass, this is a Minnesota example.
Okay.
So I'm going to log out, so I wanna show you the differences.
I think like for Ken Cole, what we've been watching, probably would cut his manhours research way down.
So notice here, no name search, just, okay. Let's do a tree, maple. All right, so as I'm scrolling through, notice some of this is behind a password, but I can still at least look at my evaluation, my taxation, like the basics, right? But if I want to get more into some of these, what we call premium services, that's where that cost comes in.
They pay that monthly, they get automatically.
Yeah, and that's, yeah. And like I said, this is a very, very, very new discussion to Iowa. There's only a couple counties in Iowa that have it, and they just put comp search behind it, and they're keeping it so. But like in South Dakota, it's completely blocked off. It's just, sometimes it's just a funding thing, right? This is how we get funded in South Dakota, here's how we get funded in Iowa. It really just kind of depends on how that works. But I'm here, the reason why I'm here proposing, or talking to you first, is because 10-15 years ago, it was mainly just out of the assessor's office. But as we've been putting as more and more data has become digital and electronic, it's really turning into a full county tool. Like property tax dollars, an assessor would never want to have the word tax anywhere on the Beacon site. But as more citizens are asking for it, and it's becoming more of that, Crawford County online courthouse, it's only natural to have all that data on there.
Well, where did your, with AI now, like if I just want to tell, hey, this is what I'm looking for, to go look.
We actually just showed that at our conference this year. We had our conference in Nashville 2 months ago. And that was one of the things we don't know what we're doing yet with AI, nobody does. But what we're playing around with is just like a little agent that just would say, give me all sales in the last 90 days that are less than 2,000 square foot. And then instead of me manually going in, it would just produce that for you. That's what we're trying to, that's kind of like that's a baby step. The other thing we're trying to do too is where there's just an AI button up here, and then it's automatically going out into the world and finding data related to this property, like the Zillows or just whatever, taking all that, combining it into one report and calling it like an AI report. So it's all this public data, but then it's also
Depending what Google's doing, when you say something to Google, just ask it for something.
Oh, the Gemini, yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I use
yeah,
it.
I use it constantly.
Yeah, I use it daily. Everyone starts out the same thing, right? With rewording an email to make it cleaner. Kind of going off. Yeah. Now I take it now for like meetings and transcribe it. It'll summarize an hour-long meeting in 2 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, like it'll kind of like, hey,
I've been
here's.
researching companies to recruit for here, different things like that.
Yeah.
So if you could look up properties that might be available for that. It would be.
I just want to show this too. This is just Harrison County in the last year. The average number of visits they get, unique visitors, is 530 a day. I like to turn that into, that's 530 phone calls that people in your courthouse are not taking. Supervisors are the ones that came up with this rubric of like, okay, hourly rate, you can use the slider bars, all that. So Harrison County can easily argue this site saves them over $1 million a year just from phone calls and some of that foot traffic.
Yeah, we did.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I can just pause.
Can I grab you for a second?
Yeah, sorry.
Keep on.
He looks like the county attorney.
Yeah.
It's the way he's dressed, I can tell. My wife's an attorney.
You said when it kind of open splits and mergers, it don't do.
This shows all the splits, and ours updates on a nightly basis. So we usually do splits and combines. Our turnaround is 48 to 72 hours. I don't know what, I can't speak for the other ones, but like that's part of our service too. We manage and update GIS layers. We provide a service for Shelby County where we are their GIS because they were tired of the turnover. So they just paid us to be the GIS coordinator.
I have, sorry.
No,
It's not here, but we'll work.
Okay.
So you send it updates every night?
Yes.
So, the documents make their way to the auditor's office and for taxation. Once that process is done, is that something that the system would automatically update
Yep.
with the GIS system? So one person's not manually having to do that?
And that's the difference between us and the other companies out there, is that ours automatically polls on a nightly basis. And I can actually check to see. Do I need to stop? I'll shut up.
Earlier this year, when we're
Yeah.
trying to.
Find that?
We've had them discussing.
Here we go. So here's all the connections that this is all the connections we pulled from Harrison County on a nightly basis.
Okay.
Everything, they have solutions, but you can see though, it's just the exact time, it was at 10:09 last night. Some of them, it looks like they failed, so and sometimes it's as simple as someone leaving their computer off. But then we get an automated email with these fails, and we go in and fix those. I think it's just kind of cool. You see the Vanguard, you see the geodatabases solutions. Yes,
It seems like our current company's down more than they're up.
I'm only here to talk about
What is are you guys?
never down. I can confidently say that we are obsessed with traffic, like website traffic and speed, because we know if it's slow or lagging or you're getting information, that's we want them to come back.
Where's your headquarters?
Indianapolis, but we have an office in Ankeny that has about 10 people. I live in West Des Moines.
Just trying to figure out what your internet link's like.
It's a Will's paper.
So what would this replace currently that Crawford County has? Just Sidwell? Is that right?
Depends on if you have any other websites. And that's where there's a little bit of gray area. I want to be as transparent as I can here. Some counties also have the Vanguard site as well. But some assessors choose to still have that, which is totally fine. But all you need to know from a supervisor point of view is we pull all that data from those different websites.
How many man hours do you get? I mean, you were tracking the same thing I was thinking earlier. How many man hours do you think that was?
Well, it's probably more for the assessor's office.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, but a lot.
A lot.
And like I said,
So even for Mary, look at the stress that's been reduced for her.
So having it automatically.
and
Amazing.
And Ethan downstairs is saying Beacon's praises multiple times. So if you need a perspective, I would ask Ethan down there. So wherever he used the word, he said he used it all the time. Yeah.
Ethan.
He's one of the employees on the assessor's office.
Do you know in your counties in South Dakota that you said to access, they have a subscriber fee?
Yes.
Do any of them take in as much subscriber fees on a monthly basis to offset the costs?
Absolutely.
They do.
Yes.
Good question.
I paused because South Dakota is just different because it's so geographically large. Think Rapid City and Sioux Falls. Am I going to hop in the car and drive 6 hours to Rapid, or am I just going to pay a $5 day pass? So geography is at an advantage there with that subscription, but I think where you guys are located, and just far enough away from like Omaha and Des Moines, it might kind of have that same effect. It really just kind of depends what's going on.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Do I look at the record laws? Okay, so pieces that are like being dealt with that.
No, it's Because let's say you put a cost to just the sales list, let's keep it really simple. That still doesn't prevent me as a citizen from walking in here and asking for that list. I would consider more of a convenience fee, not an access fee, but a convenience. And I think there's a little bit of a distinction there. You can wait till Monday at 8 AM to get it, or you can pay $5 on a Saturday night and get it done.
Or
Makes
sitting
sense.
in your office because you're busy doing other stuff too.
Right, and so it's just kind of, I mean,
I want to know.
Yeah, but if you're doing it regularly, it's gonna have more than just one
A
day.
lot of people that are busy doing those things want it.
yeah.
That quarterly or annual and know that you're really using.
And yeah, and you'll also see too, like, if you pull this list, you'll see who the, what I like, the power users. Yeah, so really my ask today is just to introduce this to you and get you thinking about it over Christmas break. And then,
Very intrigued.
and I've already, voiced this to Paul a couple months ago, I called him like the day after it started, just because he was a client of mine. Just kind of more jokingly, giving him a hard time. If you sign today, if you sign tomorrow, a month from now, we would post-date the contract to July 1st just because of the budget years and all that. And because you currently have Sidwell, we're obviously going to be a little more motivated to work with you on pricing and everything too.
It's, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we not share that with 911 and DMU?
So I do know Dwayne, if Dwayne's still employed. So technically, the only work we've ever done from Crawford was 911 work because our GIS guy just knows 911 work well, and him and Dwayne. So I try to get Dwayne to look at this, but
He's 911, but yeah.
when he was the assessor, right?
Sure.
I tried every which way and said no thanks.
Dwayne kind of resists change.
Yeah, very well.
Change.
They are executives.
Sounds good.
Okay,
I don't know
I'm
if you
going
guys noticed, but I mean Cindy Krudoff online, she posted a couple things that she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was Chris, maybe she'd used the site before or
Can you put walking?
something.
Trails, I answered her yes.
Okay,
We wanted.
so yes and no to kind of answer her question. I can't show it to you today, right now, because where I'm sitting. But right here, there's a button that will actually show my location if I'm standing in a Beacon County.
Oh, okay.
Just like a little dot that kind of follows you around. I've used it a lot for, actually, I do a talk for whitetail properties, what they call big hunter group.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, so a lot of them will sit on their tree stand and use Beacon, and it's got the little dot. So shoot a deer, I know exactly where the property lines are, and then I know who owns that property. Or if I'm setting up a tree stand, I know exactly where those lines are. So
Who to ask permission to.
you got it.
Do you have things requested? You wanna know public hunting areas, fishing, public fishing, hiking, all that stuff.
We get this question all the time.
Farmers, timber ground versus pasture versus row crop.
All the time. Yep. And it's, if you have the mapping layer, you the county or have access to it, we'll gladly put it on there. I mean, we have everything from daycare centers to, just anything you can think of. It just kind of depends on how the county wants to use it. Are you guys districts or at large? Okay. Well, bad example. I guess it'd just be one big blob. No, but like districts, are very important. Like I don't even know who who's my commissioners.
Do you usually go by
We got a lot.
annual payment, monthly payments,
We usually do annual.
ballpark?
It depends on what you want to get. But I did print out, I apologize, I only printed out 4 for some reason. I was thinking there's only 3 of you. So I'll email. Yes, well, I'm gonna say
She can
somebody.
forward it on to us.
I can email you the proposal, but I do have a few hard copies that I can leave with you. Just promise me you won't get sticker shock.
That's scary.
No, it's just, you get sticker shock and it's $5. It's always too expensive, no matter what. No, it's always fun when I show to a meeting and they say, how much? I'm like, I haven't even shown you anything. You don't even know what I'm selling. So, all right, well, thank you. I didn't mean to go over, but
Thank you,
I
Ryan.
felt like it was engaging, so I didn't wanna.
Yep, nope, it was good.
If you're, yeah, if you were gonna cut me off, you would have.
Yeah, so.
Okay, I left my card on purpose, not just for show. If you have questions, do not hesitate to, just little one-off questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them. So, all right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
What's it? Oh, yeah, thank you. That. I'll leave these with you and you can decide what to do with them. Consider me not here. I'll leave. Was it in the meeting?
Colin's gonna step out court for a little bit, so I'd like to jump ahead to cost allocation.
Let's chat.
He wanted to.
Thank you,
Have
everyone.
complaints. Yeah, thank
Is
you.
anyone at supervisor meeting?
Which one?
The ISAC one?
In January?
Yeah.
Yeah, three of us.
Seeing whether to go or not. So if you'll be there, I'll go.
We'll be there.
I mean, if I have one conversation point, it's worth it for me to go.
I don't know, I'm the secretary treasurer, that might be a lot of writing to do.
These are really easy.
You gonna go as a member, vendor?
Yeah, but I mean, you've been to that one, it's pretty chill. Yeah. I like it just to sit down.
I actually have, I engage with the vendors more there than I do at like our spring conference, just because they're right there outside the.
You guys want to be something time.
Okay, you answered my question. Be there.
And we appreciate this.
Yeah, we give ISAC fun. No.
Good answer.
That's good.
Not as much as we do.
I don't know.
Something about
It's hospitality, don't seem pretty sweet.
it's associated with that
In
cost.
fact, you combine the auditor.
This is the
treasurer,
cost allocation.
Thanks a lot.
attorney,
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
supervisors.
Okay,
Well,
well,
this cost allocation, and you researched it, I
I did.
researched it.
I actually
We paid $4,450 and get, this was 58,000 back.
Yep, I called Roger, just to kind of get
Roger.
the,
It's Rogers. That's
Rasmussen?
Sterler.
still.
Oh,
Still. And he wasn't in his office, but, we've been doing this since 2015, and it's required to have this report because the state and the county share the cost of the federal grants that are given to, especially Monica. Without this breakdown and without this report, we would be leaving the third that the feds would give us to help with our grant financing. Pardon me, if anything is not the way you understand it, so.
until the Fed get rid of the grants.
Right, so we have to pay this $45.50 to, this time our estimate that we're gonna get is 59,000. See here, 56,311. So according to the total reimbursement for the year should be about $18,583. They'll track these payments each quarter, and a copy of the correspondence to the local office of DHHS will provides guidance for claiming these.
We've been doing this since 2015. Crawford County has been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, and then usually we just, on that goes to the rent that we were paying for the, Ulrich's building.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So
So,
prior to that, to the Peterson building.
and Colin
Now
and
it's gonna be in our pocket.
Yep.
We got
Colin
this.
and I are working on that.
Okay.
But hopefully, we're gonna do a conference call with Molly this week. She's been out on vacation to get a memorandum of understanding about the space, what's available, and since it's not a designated space, it'd be look a little bit different, because we don't have that locked up office, but we do have several spaces available. And so that cost is gonna reflect that it's not designated.
Well, I will move to approve the certification of cost allocation plan.
I have a motion by Craig,
I will second that.
second by Jean. Any further discussion?
Again, I promised I'd bring this back.
All in
Thank you for
favor?
clarifying that, Gina.
Yeah, no.
I
think
was
that's-
interested in it too, because when I talked to Megan about it, Michelle, I talked to Michelle, if we don't do it, we leave that money
Right.
on the table, and so it's just
If we're spending money, and get more money back.
Yeah, yeah. And you, but
Then we
We-
spend.
Investment.
he talked about,
It's,
just because we've always done it, we still have to do it, so we still have to do it.
Investment, okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I was just real curious on when all those numbers and, why we can't all that information. Reimburse them.
Sure, sorry. Long story short.
All this myself.
Yes, that's better.
Almost, people.
Not one way or the other, he just had some points to make out for us to decide on that. Yep, let's take a 5-minute break till it all gets.
Circling back to Trevor's MCA, Cass County does not put in anything for their employees.
Yeah.
Good. I think he's gotta give us some numbers back. There's a few things that I question about it. I don't know if it's our place to do something like that or not. Got a discussion about more gravel, right budget, even the insurance. I don't see it benefiting everybody.
Did something for insurance, knocked off as much as we'd have to pay, that
That could be a difference.
no brainer.
But if we're gonna spend, I don't know, hypothetically 20, 30, 40 bucks to our plan versus I think the majority of the employees would rather say, keep my health insurance down 20, 30, 40 bucks. I don't.
The county employees already get a discount. That's the behavior.
Say that again.
Your county employee, Adrian gives you a discount. That's the behavior. It's just a gym, but I think that's not as.
Automatically without even doing it.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's done this too. Oh, yeah, I think the question.
Would it be worth doing like a doodle poll to see how many of our employees would be even interested in it? You know, because some people just, they're just not. Can I say?
Sherry, what you're hearing
Say over half aren't even in.
with Beacon, isn't that what some counties use for their tax statements to break out what portion is county, school? I thought they used the Beacon graph.
I was disappointed that there was a discount instead of 66.
But I think you're right. And what if this thing's got a tax statement at the bottom?
Yep.
So could you use them instead if I already signed up with them? For tax statements? Yes.
They don't do. the
They
tax-
don't do
they
the
don't
tax.
actual tax statements, they're just.
There was a little place that says, you hit to see your tax statement. It was just a little, so I didn't know if that's just a generic looking one there, probably.
You could do a lot of these things with our current. With Simple. You can access it 24/7. I have no idea if it's a county piece of portion. For that to happen, I don't know the course behind it, but. You can access it 24/7 if it's operating. Yeah, that's true.
If it's up for reading.
Yeah, but I know a lot of counties that customers, contractors, engineers.
We take it a break.
So it's gonna be a big part of this. Sidwell's half the price of this.
But if you could opt out of the subscription cost, that's pretty cool too.
I like that.
And that's probably a policy conversation, I assume, you probably knows more about.
He probably didn't want to influence us unjustly, so that's why I appreciate the first.
People who use our current GIS systems are used to it, it functions just well, but it's just fine for them if you know how to use it. But I assume it's the same. I don't know, just lay down a little bit different. Seem easier to figure out. Yeah.
It did seem like something I could maneuver on. That comes to it, the tech world I need easier.
Yeah. But look like some of the breakdowns were a little more detailed too, every.
I love that.
The soil and the other stuff
Yeah.
he was talking.
so are there any things that we are currently buying that we could not purchase if we purchased Beacon?
That part I don't know.
But
I feel like I have to sneeze all the time.
Cause even there's
Like
features
it's
on
like-
the snow one,
where, you know,
There's features on Sidwell that I didn't even know.
it's like the
last couple of years. I remember going down and asking Seth, can you just like, I've used this for years, but can you show me some things and kind of train me on how to use it? I didn't realize.
What does Sidwell cost? Does anybody know? What the subscription is? Is that paid for out of the IT budget? I would assume.
This
Or not?
assessor's budget, I think,
Is it? Okay.
Plus,
we may
yes.
fall pay for that too.
And it's
If you remember, he tried to sell it to Wayne and said,
For sure. Sidwell,
Maybe it is,
Sidwell's a GIS.
maybe it is. What,
Sidwell was just made by Vanguard, right? Vanguard's the company that Sidwell's the GIS program, is that what it is?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
You're probably right.
Maybe the Vanguard has other programs. maybe. Or it could
So
be
when
the
you
other
go,
way
when you
around.
go on our current county assessor's website, and you go to the GIS feature, that's Sidwell right there?
Yes.
Okay.
And we do use that platform. I use.
I should have asked him, you know, like on ours, the GIS. You know, I had a neighbor that thought I was on her property. I said, well, then my neighbors are on mine on the east side of the property. Oh, I didn't. Oh, that is about the same amount of property. I said, yeah, they tell you right away on the GIS, it isn't the exact lines, it just gives you a general understanding.
Right.
And if you really wanna know, you get a surveyor come out.
Find the pins.
Sometimes the lines go on right.
Mine was through the middle of the tree. And it was,
I imagine that's probably how trees.
and there's my names. Hard to. Without going and doing the surveying, it's hard to do.
Hard to guarantee of.
And even when we're out doing the surveying, there's contention.
But. I'm sure there's a lot of work to that.
Looks like if you do
I don't know if I brought up,
essential prices.
that's the last Region 12 meeting,
She said it.
they're gonna start offering open meeting training. The state passes a bill that requires any, like,
Then I don't know
officials
if you
to have to take
that,
it.
then you want to do,
probably be a good idea.
okay, now we got.
But there's, like Chris said, he's gonna do it in an hour, if you do it in state, through the state, it's like 3 hours.
Sooner, this probably goes around those.
Be interesting to give this to,
You did that.
And I think it's not just, it's library boards,
see where.
Every board.
observation board, I
Oh
mean,
my
any,
God,
it's all that.
everybody.
Wow.
So, let's just see if we can make it harder to get more volunteers. Holy cow.
They said the reason the state passed it, there was some different boards that voting on things that weren't agenda items. But yeah, I'm with you, that's gonna make things a lot harder to get.
What's happening?
So Region 12 is gonna offer, the state is requiring any new local elected official
We're appointed.
or appointed to have to take an open meeting course.
Schneider.
Oh. I think that requires like conservation, library, any
All right.
board have to do that. Supervisor, your supervisor.
I can see the benefits, I can see that. People say, oh, not gonna do that.
Church?
I don't know about your,
I didn't thought about that. Maybe.
Volunteer fire departments.
Just about that. Got ties to the government, you know,
Yeah,
get money from the city.
some of them meetings get you. to-
there's a number on your sign up to the web.
Won't argue that.
And say state.
I go to,
There was,
some of the outside things, I remember like down at the Fort Town or something.
that's what I call.
Wanna make sure.
Could we appoint a chair, not just to humor somebody, but to could actually run a meeting? Yeah, that's kind of the objective, of having a chair, runs a meeting.
The new fireman. chief or whatever running the meeting, there was so much stuff on the table, I finally said, you know, there's so much stuff on this table, it's gonna bust in half. It's time we started taking care of some of this business wise, it just was like, let's just take. Let's just take, everything was taken. And we need to buy a pair of gloves for a new fire, let's take it.
Pretty neat, don't they?
I kinda, yeah,
You can write out with me.
they need it, part of their turnout.
You're saying.
Some days.
We never mind, so they're 11 o'clock at night.
You don't have to turn radio on when I'm
You know, discussion over a pair of boots.
Maybe that's why those little supervisor meetings went till 3 o'clock.
Well, I think it's probably going back far enough, there probably was some translations going on from the old Germans coming in here. Rattling cages and.
Right now, Drake and Sac County.
You know, and I'll bet back in the day, as long as they could get here for a meeting, there was probably a lot of people did come. They were more engaged as citizens once upon a time.
Well, if you had to come in here and talk school business, because superintendent,
Michelle can look it up. It's,
the supervisors kind of oversee the school, right?
Hire the teachers.
Well, glad we don't do all that.
that's probably what you're
I
reading.
mean, you could get on a, I mean, there were a lot of them in that old country school, I think they could, just gotta get a teaching certificate, I think, in a couple of weeks to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they may be becoming a teacher.
Yeah, just.
Which I think probably.
Glasses on.
I got one.
Oh, I didn't get one. I had to share with Todd.
Well, there was only.
There was only 3 of them, you only brought 3, I think, we were 3 supervisors, 4 to 3. So he's gonna email it to Megan, and Megan's gonna email a copy to all of us.
No worries. I just happened to be the personnel.
But I've looked at it, you can have mine,
Make a copy too.
you can have mine,
It's just gonna be a color.
I already got it memorized.
I almost.
You have the eidetic memory, do you, Sheldon?
No,
Some things just stick out and
33,000,
Stay in your brain.
2,000.
I'm gonna just read.
I don't know if you heard me when I first looked at it. Okay. Yeah.
But as high as that is, I thought it was gonna be more.
Really?
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, when I started adding all them others,
We've been on the IT committee before when we talk about those subscriptions.
Subscription
And that
fees.
stuff, and it's just atrocious.
some of them are scary.
He's finding out what we're being now, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, it may not be that bad. Sidwell fee. Maybe that's $100,000.
There you go.
We don't get anybody to pay in.
I don't remember when we went over the assessor budget, that being in there, do you?
I remember it once upon a time, it's split 3 ways. And if it's every 3 years, we pay $100,
Maybe,
you know.
I see, maybe we don't pay an annual fee.
Right.
Gotcha. It's might have been cheaper if you do it.
Yeah.
You've got a,
So maybe we just did it last year, we got 2 years ago.
And then if you don't get anybody to chip in, you know.
Good. There you go.
Everybody that gets to use it for free, we might have enough roll over that.
Call, make your call.
The bankers and auctioneers, what the hell, we've been using it for free all these years. Then I guess our card goes.
But
it's a
they don't have,
convenience fee,
they don't
and it
have,
is something that's convenient for them.
they wouldn't have the access to it if Crawford County isn't involved, like he did, right? If you're a banker or an assessor, you can't go in and find that in Crawford County if we're not a member, can you?
Right.
In Beacon? No.
Yeah.
Did you use Beacon at all?
So it's a reckoning.
There you go.
It's a reckoning. They need us to be a kingpin.
It's not like I would want to, we just go in as an individual user.
That's what Michelle was gonna look me up, what Sidwell costs us now.
They need us to be the kingpin so they can get other people.
Maybe that's why we have said that. It does the job, but
Sidwell, she said, was broken out in a different, but they offered, it wasn't like a lump
Subscriptions
sum.
come off large.
So do you,
Yeah.
she was not here, but when she talks about
That's going in their pocket.
things not, is it up and running all the time, what does she use that's not running?
So maybe we should be charging them a convenience fee.
it's I do.
We need all more information.
It's too hard.
But she's talking about Sidwell too. Okay.
This is some of the stood out more for a long time.
You asked the question. Said it doesn't offset the cost, so does that, did you think that those additional subscriptions went to the county then? Or did they go to?
Right, they came to us.
Okay.
We're paying Sidwell
Understood it.
55,000 a year,
Sidwell costs how much?
55.
So you, is that annually or is that,
That was for the year, it's still,
you know, is that 3-year subscription or is that a 2-year subscription?
that was everything for this year up till 8/12/25.
Is that for a 3-year subscription, and then is that split three? I think that's split 3 ways for some reason. Is that our
I
third?
think that's what we paid them throughout the year.
We paid them.
Not just the assessor's office, the whole, is that, or is that the assessor?
The whole county.
That's the whole count. That would be.
Including-
DMU was paying.
Right.
That's, everybody's, that's okay, that's 3/3 of the cost, regardless. If it's split 3 ways, that's the 3/3.
Mhm.
Meaning that's our thing.
No, that's
So
the
that'd
total.
be total, because we would be the one that wrote the check, and then we collect the money.
Okay.
The other 2/3, okay.
Is according to Ryan's proposal. 33,000 setup fee, 22,000 annual.
At the end.
Well, they seem motivated about getting us, so I think we use that to our advantage as well.
Okay.
So, Megan, I had it torn off January of last year.
I know, we watched Greg here 3 months
So
off.
that's the other thing, it's the thing, Eagle View. That's the, man, when I fly, I'll take the pictures all the time. That's
This Dave? Oh, Gene doesn't have hers yet, he's.
right there. That don't get better and get rid of Eagle, because right there, Eagle up there, no, what's that, Eagle View, that will get rid of that. That's the one that flies over and gets the photographs of all the.
That Sidwell or that
Eagle View.
Eagle View?
Mine's Eagle report, that's my project, so maybe someone has something called Eagle.
You know, it's an Eagle View to fly the county for 3 years, something like
Or does, maybe they offer that
that, yeah.
in it.
We can hook up, you think, with FSA, you think, where do we get?
After since now, I had opportunity to get a picture of our house too. Got that on the basement.
So I guess next step would be to say, what are you gonna clean up? And we got Eagle View, we got Sidwell.
Yeah.
How much of this are we still gonna continue to pay?
Yeah. That's the question.
Yeah, I wanna know apples to apples. What are you replacing? What's the
If
cost?
you're only gonna replace Sidwell,
It sounds like that's about wash, but I think they got a lot more services that, a lot more available resources.
So who else uses Sidwell?
I like it sounded like because of time you guys, Mary, and the assessor's office.
So I don't know how
like
much
community.
either one of them use.
Yeah. When, after watching her stress this way, for sure, I think that's where.
Right, EMU's got more power
And I
lines
think
and stuff.
you could have this subscription thing,
Right,
right, you know, which for
Could easily
everything.
be switched over to them.
We're paying for it.
Yeah, something that certainly give a lot of thought to.
I'll reach out to Wayne and see how much the,
Why didn't he wanna go with this?
and see what the other ones, the layers that 911 and DME have and how hard that, I think are easy to switch over. What reservations he had for not wanting to go to.
That's what, yeah, that's what I'm like. And if he was just comfortable with Sidwell because he didn't wanna learn something new, or did, you know, was it?
There's like a big red flag.
Exactly. So it'd be nice to have Dwayne's input and then Paul's input, cause he's used it.
Yeah. And granted, yeah, I might have just never got along with that guy, he rubbed me wrong or something.
Yep.
So I never liked it. Paul's like, oh, yeah, we've been best friends since high school, you know?
And we can shake the dice a little bit longer.
You know,
Throw.
people have People are comfortable working.
Well, that's just it. You get comfortable with the system.
All
I've been trying to get her off a prophecy for our truck line, cause she won't change, but she bitches every week about it. About work with the program.
Yeah, I said it's about comparing the two. Sidwell and Beacon are both widely used GIS platforms for property and parcel data, but they differ in interface, customization, and integration capability. Beacon is often favored for public access and ease of use, while Sidwell offers deeper customization and price level GIS.
Maybe that's why. Just for that simple purpose.
Sidwell offers what? I didn't hear what you said, Dave.
Sidwell offers deeper customization and enterprise level GIS services.
Yeah, it's not so much.
Maybe Sidwell gets a little bit more into the nitty gritty.
Okay. And you know, that would take them to understand that because we don't deal with that in depth. So I think it's still more about what is our department heads. You know, Mary, what works good for her, what works good for the assessor. We sure don't do it every week. We need to make sure it works for you. I like what I see.
Yeah, look really user friendly.
That's what I thought. Well, I could do that.
And that would just be a link on our website, our current county website.
Just a link.
Did you get it?
You know what? Maybe Ryan knows some things too. Maybe he's heard about it too. You know, I don't know what Region 12 or anybody uses stuff. He's our IT guy. He may know there's false.
Cindy, your hands up.
Did I miss citizens input? I'm having a hard time hearing today.
You know, we could do that now. We're waiting on Colin to come back for our last agenda item before we go into closed session, but why don't we go ahead and do, have anybody in the room? So go ahead, Cindy.
Well, I was just going to say with the beacon, I have used it several times, both personal and with the pipeline research, and it is wonderful. And in fact, I think along the pipeline, there's only like 3 counties that did not have beacon on it. Like we were trying to get a hold of different landowners and plotting the route and all sorts of things. So I guess I would also encourage you to maybe contact other county supervisors and see what they use it for or why they keep it, and maybe it will give you some more justification for the expense. But personally, I'm sorry.
Oh, we do have a 4 county meeting tomorrow, and our District 3 next week would be a good time to ask.
Yeah, because like I said, I think there was only 3 counties on that whole phase 2 of the pipeline that did not have beacon. And everybody's asking, why doesn't Crawford? And I think I called the assessor's office probably a year and a half ago, and they said, nope, it's not something we're interested in. So it's like, okay, well, tried. I didn't even think about coming to the board for it. I thought it was an assessor's decision. But personally, I have bought in property in Sac County, and I used it for a lot of research as far as property tax, the assessed values, when it was built, how many rooms were in the house. There was a lot of things that I researched that I'm not sure even going to the Sac County courthouse if I could have gotten that information. The realtor had some of it, but not all of it that was on Beacon. I also did the same thing for my brother who was moving, was looking for different property, not to come back to Crawford, but different counties down there by Indianola, and did the same research for him. I mean, it is really concise and easy to use, and can't say enough good about it. So anyway, that was just my citizens' input for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, and if we're sharing that 3 ways, we probably ought to have input from.
Maybe they would want to be partners, but I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Yeah. Maybe that's Ryan that would need to go down and talk to DMU, and who else is the partner?
911.
9-1. That's right.
Okay, anybody else with citizen input? We do have Colin here.
I have something to go off of what Cindy said, not yay or nay, because I don't have a preference. My office uses that so very little. Mostly I want to see who owns the adjoining piece of property or that kind of stuff, so I don't dig into it. But I know with Sidwell, I've personally looked to see how many bedrooms a place has and tax base and that kind of stuff. So the program does have that function as well. But a lot of times I've also tried to pull it up, like I've said, and have not been able to access it because it's been down. So that's always been my biggest beef with Citadel.
I did that one time, not that long ago, when we were having the issues with the industrial or the commercial real estate. I thought maybe it was just my computer, but if you have a lot of trouble, it would always take.
I mean, it looks like Beacon digs in deep, which I personally don't know anything about because I don't use that. But I don't know that Sidwell doesn't do the same.
Anybody else? I'll move on to discuss, take action of compensation board. We do have Colin here.
You want to chime in on that?
Yeah, so we were discussing, we put it on the agenda to whether or not we wanted to utilize them or not. A lot of counties haven't. So we put it on, but Colin did bring some points to me. One way or the other, how, just so we are all aware of.
Thanks for having those people back.
Yes.
So, of course, last year with the new law on compensation boards, and first of all, the law abolished all compensation boards. And then the counties were able to have a compensation board through resolution and reestablish a compensation board, which Crawford County did. It's allowed to be dissolved by a majority vote of the members, and that's under 331-905.7. If the compensation board is dissolved, all the responsibilities that are otherwise assigned to the compensation board would fall onto the board of supervisors, which includes the biggest thing. Well, one of the biggest things is there's now a show your work requirement out of the compensation board, and that would be then fall on the supervisors to show your work and how you came up with your numbers. One thing, and again, this is not a comment on good or bad, but this is just a comment of something that I think the board should consider. The current law that stands on compensation board, of course, the compensation board meets, they show their work, or when they present to the board, they show their work, and they make recommendations. The board can then take those recommendations and tinker with them as they see fit, either up or down. And they no longer have to be uniform. As you guys all know, except for your guys' salaries decreases used to have to be uniform. That is no longer the case. Independent offices can be adjusted independently upon the recommendation of the compensation board. The language in the law actually says the supervisors shall determine the final compensation schedule, which gives you the authority to tinker up and down. All right. There is a competing clause that is at play here, and it's under the same section I referred to earlier, 905 sub 7. Now I'll just read it verbatim. Pursuant to section 331-907, in setting the salary for the county sheriff, the board of supervisors shall set the sheriff's salary so that it's comparable to the salaries paid to, and then the three comps, as always, police chiefs of similar size cities, management of DCI, and management officers of state patrol. And that same language in those three same positions are mentioned in 331-907 when it comes to the compensation board recommendations. So here's what the board would have to consider in dissolving. One of the things the board would have to consider when dissolving the compensation board is the black letter of the law as it reads under 331-905 sub 7. The board of supervisors shall set the sheriff's salary so that it's comparable with these positions. That's it. So the question is how does that affect or impact the board's otherwise authority to tinker with numbers with independent offices independently? It seems conflicted to me, because when you have a compensation board, they come to you, or the rep comes to you after the compensation board meets. Everyone presents their numbers, they show their work. The compensation board as a whole votes on those numbers, and then the representative comes here to present those numbers to you. You take those numbers and you can say, oh, well, we have final compensation authority, we'll do this and we'll do that with all the numbers. Including with the sheriff's numbers, because by statute, it is a recommendation from the compensation board. It's not binding, it's a recommendation. But the language, once that compensation board is dissolved, that language, when it pertains to the county sheriff's salary, is a shall language. That shall be set. Comparable to these three numbers. So the open question remains is, well, does the board still reserve the authority to tinker with those numbers and have final compensation? So it seems a conflict between the board's authority to have set final compensation schedules when presented with numbers from the compensation board. Because if you dissolve the compensation board, there is no more recommendations, because there's no more board. So there's no recommendations to come here to tinker with. It's just you guys. And once that's the case, the language says you shall set the salary at this rate, or based on these comps. Now, what those comps are would be, I guess, another separate fighting issue, but.
So what it says, you have to find a city that has a population of 17,000, whatever, in Crawford County, that city has to have that same population that we're looking at. So you could use Denison, because you'd have to use.
Right, because the county's bigger than.
Right.
Yep. So again, this is not a comment on good or bad.
Has that ever been decided?
Right, because to me, that'd be the level of argument, is that why do we even include the city of Denison in the county count? Because they have their own police
That's
force.
exactly
That's what I was gonna ask.
We've argued that.
So
I know.
is our comparable, can we take out the population of Denison?
They don't say that.
The language
Right, that's what
says
language says, no.
police
Comparable.
chiefs
It's clear enough.
of
just to get
cities
you
of
the
similar
level of
population to the county.
So basically, if you remain with the compensation board on that back to blue bill, it gives us a little bit of flexibility on what we decide.
That's how it reads to me right now. It, like you, under 331-907, when it talks about the compensation board recommendations, subsection 2 talks about how the board can review the recommendations and then determine final compensation schedule. So that is the language that allows the board to tinker with the recommendations from the compensation board. If there is no more compensation board, then that's fine. The law accounts for that too. You guys are now the de facto board of supervisors /
And according
compensation.
to our resolution that we passed last year, the compensation board is in place.
Yes, we have
It's in
one.
place right now.
Yes.
So today's vote would be to dissolve into ourselves or take no action in.
And it's staying.
Get that conversation going,
Okay.
see what,
But we can adjust basically all elected official salaries. You know,
at different
just
percentages.
considering how they send it to us, it's always inflated. Because we cut it, I mean, if they send us something practical, I mean, we might actually look at that. But since it's always inflated, we can adjust down at different levels per department.
The law allows you to adjust up or down or leave it or whatever you want from the recommendation from the compensation board.
But we still, I mean, if we dissolved, we would have to show our work of what we came up with,
Right.
our numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of the board bringing its homework to you, you guys would do the homework yourselves. Not that you don't do it. I don't remember last year you guys did it anyway, but.
We didn't. But the other change that came with that is rather than adjusting everybody by 3%, we can do 1 by 3, 1 by 5.
Yeah,
1 by
independent
10,
offices can be adjusted independently.
which is a change that's new
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could have did that last
and
year.
needed.
The reason we didn't gouge ourselves on the sheriff's salary is because we did do a inflated raise on the deputies because it was overdue, but, or at least in our opinion, that was overdue. So that's why it hurt the sheriff's increase.
But good points to bring us so that we're fully aware.
Yeah.
of the
this is just
scenario.
information to consider, and you guys make the call.
Thank you.
So I
If
guess
anyone wants to see the language.
it's kind of up to
This
the
is the
board
one
then
that
to decide
dissolved.
whether you want a
This is the
motion to
language.
dissolve it or take no action.
Will we get people to serve?
I think so. I haven't heard anybody that would.
Well, they had good people last year.
They did.
I mean, there was great work, so to speak. Did that again. I just don't want them to start thinking we lower it, but when they bring in an inflated number, we're gonna lower. I just don't want them to think, well, why the hell are we doing it anyway? They're just gonna lower.
Or
it.
that's why I asked that question.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
there's-
I think
when
there
you-
is some of that.
There's both thought processes to that.
Yeah. I mean, but we still gotta worry about the budget. Here we are again with all these threats of property tax cuts and they act like they're gonna,
Or we have scenarios where they vote for a recommendation and then they come back and tell certain board members that you need to do something about property tax are too high.
I just hate to see them go through all their time, because we don't even know how much money we're gonna have to spend. I mean, our state representatives would say, property tax reform is gonna happen,
We say that.
and you're not gonna like it.
yeah.
How's it gonna happen? We don't know yet, but it's gonna happen. So they're gonna spend, how much time they spend researching everything
A lot of
and
time.
coming up with their figures. But we don't even know if we'll have money to,
I would
I
guess,
mean, 2008, there was $0 given for raises in this county.
You know, and
Because of
one of the things
whatever.
that we've been arguing with them, Kyle, is that, the cost of living, which is only 2.8 this year, you know, so I mean, that's even gonna be, it ain't gonna be like the.
I mean, I don't want,
What?
yeah, I don't want that, but
Yeah, you see what I'm getting at? There's not gonna be, depending on how they establish this new criteria for establishing property tax, we could be pretty damn low.
I mean, we'll still have that option to adjust that, but people are gonna put a lot of time in their research, show their work.
Sarah, go ahead.
Just to Kyle's point, they're volunteers, they do it for a lot of times, so I feel like that's something for you guys to
Yeah.
consider that.
Yeah.
We're aware of that.
You know,
Pros and cons.
So is that a motion to dissolve?
well, I'm still reading.
Not to put you on the spot.
I mean, I think
I
from
just
a
wanna
state
make-
standpoint, best case
I'm reading it for
scenario
myself.
is it'll be a property tax freeze.
It's a little tricky.
Legislature won't be able to come up with, they're gonna fight down there. Won't be able to come up with something. We know we have a new governor after next year.
We'll know, we won't know until March.
They'll just leave it, that's the best case scenario. They don't do anything, but they do freeze it, so you can't raise it for your taxes per year. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. Just because the Iowa legislature has a hard time working together, even though they're all one party.
Is that some insight you?
I didn't know, that's no insight whatsoever.
Inside baseball.
I could have asked for some insight, but that was me just winging it on my own.
Make a phone call.
I don't know. According to what we found out last year, that, we can't take any action on this until we, according to
Well, we need to be able to
331,907, at the public hearing to approve the budget, is when we officially take action of the compensation board's recommendation.
Right, on the record, yeah, there was no recommendation before the board right now.
I mean, it's not necessarily that we have to be in a rush to have them convene.
To me, today, it's more of a matter, do we want them to convene or do we want to do it?
And just so the board knows, I mean, we have been talking about convening the department heads with
I'm
our
assuming you have, because
representative.
phone calls I've been
I
getting,
don't know.
which is fine. And it's normally this time of year
Right.
when they
Normally,
convene, so.
Yeah,
Well, it was the board's, it was the board's rep that called meeting.
We have it. We have it.
we haven't even talked to anybody to see
No.
if they're interested in wrapping up.
we haven't talked to anybody.
So we gotta have a chair and a wrap.
They've already been decided.
What's
They
that?
don't change.
I don't think they change.
They serve terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what their terms are. Had some of that on there.
Yeah, I just feel like whatever we decided would be sooner the better for us, so we can let our volunteer reps know, yes, there's a meeting set, now don't worry about it, thanks for your service, or
Who typically set that meeting up? Ted did.
the chairman.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kind of, I feel like it's this time of year so that then we can get our budgets in.
It's currently set for next month, or this coming Monday.
Yeah.
So we kind of need to make a decision one way or the other.
I mean, I'm in favor of just keeping it the way it's been, but I don't think it really doesn't matter that much to me, but if we have it in place and they're willing to serve, I thought the information we got was excellent last year, so I'm willing to go through the same process.
I know last year at our district meeting, there were 12 counties there.
It was half and half.
Half and half.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely,
Good point. It was half and half.
so maybe we should talk to one of the.
I think at our
counties.
4-county thing, I think it's 2 and 2,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I think you're right. It's very split across the state.
See what everybody's, maybe we should wait.
Well, they're gonna meet Monday
Another meeting.
anyways.
Yeah.
Take no action.
They meet, no. They have a meeting. They're scheduled meeting, I mean.
Well, I say if we take no action today, then we give them the direction to go ahead with the meeting and let the comp board do their thing.
Yeah, because we don't have a meeting next week, do we?
Nope.
So basically, we're 2 weeks off before the Tuesday before Christmas.
I mean, I was all coming forward just to sidelining it for the year, just to the fact that nobody knows where anybody's gonna be at with all the property tax reform that they're talking, so.
Yeah, but if we can adjust it however we want when it's done. I mean, or when we start to get a clue, that's the problem, is they aren't gonna give us a clue when we haven't have budgets done. So we're
It's always
gonna
a
be
slap in
kinda
the
like
face
we
for
were
what they
last
put
year,
together, though, too.
Yeah.
being the bad guy, because nobody in Des Moines can figure out what the hell they wanna do.
That's the way they want it. We're always gonna be the bad guys,
And the,
bad people.
the twist with the sheriff, you know, that,
You know,
that really
so what
stakes
did
it
you
out
do?
there with
Yeah.
the shall.
Yeah, the shall on the sheriff.
With me, then it sounds like let them do their thing and
But that don't say total package there compared
I
to
know, that's what you wish it would say, instead of just
their,
how.
their comparisons are so vague.
Total,
I know.
total
And they
package.
know it too.
They know it,
They
they're
know.
purposely done now, man.
They know.
To leave
You
just
know
enough
what?
rope to hang.
Because we haven't got carried away with that, but I mean, I think we need to catch up some. You know? But
Well, we could
With
see
what? I mean, you catch one up, then the rest, I mean, you either catch.
I
them
don't,
all
I'm
up
not
or
saying
you
we
don't
gotta
catch any
catch
of
to
them.
what
And we don't know if we can afford to catch them all up.
I'm not saying we go to 125 or whatever it was last year was the catch-up number. I don't think we do that. I mean, we still gotta look after what Crawford County can afford. I mean, we brought out $1 million.
I guess that's a whole different.
We're in
discussion.
impoverished county.
He doesn't care.
They don't
That'd be a
care.
tough one. I don't- Nobody's taking us to court yet either.
Yeah, don't say if that, it don't specify.
You gotta knock on wood.
Yeah, I can say Brenda might be
I'm not
back.
saying this about Roger, no, they don't say if the sheriff comes to office 6 days a week or becomes 6 days a year.
Yeah,
You gotta catch them up to what them other officers pay.
well, that was one of our discussions.
Or how
I mean,
many,
that's just,
or how many
and I think there are
deputies
some
they
sheriffs
have.
in the county,
Yeah.
in the state
Yeah.
that, you know, do the bare minimum.
Yeah, yeah. And how many deputies they have and how, you know, just, I say we.
So keep it on
table
track for
or-
comp.
Yeah, I know, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Oh,
Keep everything in place.
okay. That's
One more year. See how. it goes.
settles that.
What do you think?
Who's in,
Just take no
Harry in
action.
contact with Ted then? I mean, you guys already got it set up for Monday.
I assume Terry needed to confirm it, I don't know.
Okay, well,
I'll just make a
And just-
motion to leave it in place.
Just throwing it out there, there's nothing that would prevent the board even early
Right.
next year from dissolving it. I mean, yes, the board would have met and yes, there would have been discussions and analysis, but that would be your judgment whether or not
Yeah, we
you
don't
want to
know.
consider
enough.
that and keep them.
Yep.
Or, I mean, that's your guys' call.
so you're wanting to make a motion to do that?
We'll just make a motion to, if we have to,
It's not like I have to, I mean, we have them in place, we don't,
Okay, but then we just take no
we don't
action.
do or say
No
anything, they're still in place.
Okay,
What we have to do to the, doesn't be. Hate to see them, you know, bless their heart for service,
I know.
volunteer their time. I'll see what they have to say.
we already did citizen input. Okay, let's move on to closed session.